All right, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Hello, welcome to the infamous Sylvia's channel. And we are doing the reenactment of what happened in the today's hearing. Today's part of the trial. This is Capricorn Clark's transcript reading. And we have our actors here. We have our very own prosecutor, Tiara. Hey, Tiara.
Hello. Hello.
All right, how are you? Then
Um,
we have our witness, Miss Clark, Maya.
Hi.
All right, then we have Mimi, which is our defense attorney. Hey, Mimi.
Good morning. It's like good afternoon.
And our temporary judge, she's getting herself together, is JC, our judge.
Hi, guys.
But I'm gonna be judge for a minute, and then JC's gonna jump in and be our judge. Without further ado, guys, we are get ready, go ahead on and get started. Guys, please mute your phone if you are not reading. Please, and guys, do not be mean to my actors, okay? I don't have time for that tonight, okay? Yeah, if you don't like our reading, you just go ahead on to somebody else's channel that can read better than us, okay? So because I'm not dealing with y'all tonight with this with the negativity, okay? Yeah, don't like our reading, just get off the channel. I'm not playing, okay?
Miss Sylvia, can I say a quick prayer for us?
Okay, go ahead.
Father, in the name of Jesus, we ask right now that you bless us as we are reading and be able to get the words out clear and to be able to keep up and for people to get something out of what we're reading and to cover us with your blood and just block out all the negativity and just be in it and get into the characters so that someone else will learn from this. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. That was awesome, my. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Maybe we need to start reading, saying a prayer from now on when we reading these things, because with all of this mess that's on this, we need it. We need prayer, much prayer. All right. Without further ado, here is our transcript reading. We're starting from page 2523. All right. In open court, jury presented. Welcome back, everyone. How had you? Hope you had a restful, enjoyable weekend. And with that, is the government prepared to call its first next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The government calls Capricorn Clark.
Raise your right hand. Court called a witness by the government, having been duly swear, testified as following. Please tell your first name and last name, please, ma'am.
I am. Are we on that first page you gave me?
Page 2523, ma'am. Line 14, 13, 12.
Okay, I'm getting there.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and read it while you catch up.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Capricorn Clark, Capricorn Clark. Miss Steiner, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Are you ready? You ready, Miss Clark?
No, keep going. I'm almost there.
And
I got it. Go ahead. Lord Jesus.
good morning, Miss Clark.
Good morning.
Where are you from?
Born in San Francisco, raised in Los Angeles.
Miss Clark, when, if at all, did you become involved in the music industry?
When I graduated high school in 1996.
And what role did you play in the music industry at that time?
I got an intern at Def Jam Records.
What is Def Jam?
Def Jam is heritage brand in the hip hop community, that served my generation as sort of the true lineage.
Is it a record label?
It
It
is.
is. I got it. Thank you so much.
Immediately prior to that, how, if at all, did your family circumstances change?
My mother died, and then shortly thereafter, my father died.
And how, if at all, did that affect your need for employment?
It made me have to start life a lot earlier.
Did you attend some college?
I did.
And what, if any, record label did you sign with after college?
I signed with Death Row Records.
What is Death Row Records?
Death Row Records is a late 90s street rap, gangster rap label on the West Coast.
Who was managing Death Row Records at that time?
Suge Knight,
And what, if any, relationship did you have personally with Suge Knight?
Suge Knight is the father of my best friend's children.
Following your work at Def Jam and Death Row, what was your next job in the music industry?
My next job was for Sean Combs at Bad Boy Entertainment,
And approximately when did you start that role?
2004.
Who did you report to at Bad Boy?
Sean Combs.
Miss Clark, I'm going to ask that you look around the courtroom and see if you identify Mr. Combs. And if you do, please identify him by an article of clothing.
Blue sweater.
Your Honor, if the record could reflect that the witness has identified the defendant, do you know Mr. Combs by any other names?
I do.
What are those?
Puff, Puffy, Diddy,
And how did you refer to him during your employment for him?
Puff,
During what time periods did you work for Mr. Combs?
from 2004 through 2012.
And Ms. Clark, I want to direct your attention to December of 2011. Were you working for Mr. Combs at that time?
Yes,
What occurred at that time?
I was kidnapped.
And after you were kidnapped, did you continue to work for Mr. Combs?
I did.
Did there come a time after that you left your employment?
I did.
And did you leave or were you terminated?
I was terminated.
We're going to return to that incident in a few minutes. I want to start by asking you a few questions about your relationship with Mr. Combs. When did you first meet Mr. Combs?
I met him shortly after I moved to New York City in 2002.
And what, if any, social relationships did you have with Mr. Combs at that time?
We were super platonic friends. We had a mutual friend that I met through him. Her name was Jeanette, and we were just regular friends.
And how were you initially hired to work for Mr. Combs?
I got a call from a headhunter agency called the Jennifer Group. They had saw my resume online and thought that it aligned well with that what they were looking for him.
What role did you first serve in for Mr. Combs?
Personal assistant,
Approximately when was that?
2004
And how long did you serve as a personal assistant to him?
until 2006.
Generally, what were your duties as a personal assistant?
To shadow him from before he wakes up until he released me at night.
And did you briefly leave your employment for Mr. Combs in 2006?
I did.
Did you later return to work for him?
I did
And when was that?
in 2007.
And when you returned in 2007, what was your role at that time?
Director of marketing for Sean Combs, for Sean John Wommans.
What is Sean John Women's?
Sean John Wommans was new tentacle from the master brand of Sean John, which was a men's sportswear line.
Was that a sportswear line owned by Mr. Combs?
Yes,
Was this a higher ranking position than your prior role for him?
it was.
Did you have any increase in pay?
I did.
And approximately how long did you work in that role?
A year.
What role did you hold next?
Global Brand Director for Sean Combs.
Was that also a promotion?
It was.
What were your duties in that role?
Name and likeness, anything his name was on, was my neck of the woods. If we're launching a television program, if he's ideating on something, my job is to do the due diligence, to do the research, to figure it out, to try to continue to grow the brand in different ways once we have reached new levels and ideas.
Approximately when did you serve in that role?
That was 2008 through 2012.
And how did that position end?
I was terminated.
And after your termination, did there come a time when you were re-employed by Mr. Combs?
Yes,
When was that?
2016.
What was your position at that time?
Creative director for Cassandra Ventura
And how long did you hold that role for?
until 2018.
I want to turn back, Miss Clark, to your first position for Mr. Combs as his personal assistant. You testified that you began that role in 2004. Is that correct?
Yes,
Where were you physically working for him at that time?
1440 Broadway.
Miss Foster, can you put up the witness, the parties, and the
Hmm?
court what has been marked for identification government exhibit 2B-111? Do you recognize this image, Miss Clark?
I do.
Generally, what is it?
Bad Boy Worldwide and Sean John offices.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of it?
It is.
Government offers government exhibit 2B-111.
No objection, Your Honor.
2B-111 will be admitted. If you can publish that, Miss Foster, you testified that was Bad Boy offices. During what time period was this where Bad Boy was located?
In 2004.
Until when, if you know?
I don't know when the move was made. Maybe 2005.
We can take that down. I want to direct your attention, Miss Clark, to your very first day on the job. Where, if at all, did Mr. Combs take you on your first day?
Central Park.
At approximately what time of day?
It was dark after 9 o'clock.
Who was present, if anyone, when Mr. Combs took you to Central Park?
Myself, Puff, and Paul Offord,
Who was Paul Alford?
head of security for Sean Combs, owner of Green Gate Security.
And can you please describe his general appearance?
Quiet, stoic, a bit menacing. Physically, he looks like a linebacker.
Miss Foster, can you please put up what's in evidence as Government Exhibit 2A-204? Miss Clark, do you recognize this image?
I do.
Who is this?
Paul Offord.
And do you know Mr. Alford by any other names?
I do.
What names?
Uncle Paul, Paulie,
And how did you refer to him during your employment?
Uncle Paul.
And is this picture how Mr. Alford typically looked?
No,
What's different?
he doesn't have his glasses on.
What glasses are you referring to?
His blacked out sunglasses that he wears 100% of the time.
We can take that down. Were there any other individuals around you aside from Mr. Combs and Mr. Ofer in Central Park that night?
No,
What, if anything, did Mr. Combs tell you at that time?
he told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me.
What concern did you understand Mr. Combs to have?
Objection, Judge.
Sustained. What was Mr. Combs?
I'm sorry, Judge. I'm going to ask to strike the last answer.
I don't believe she answered.
No, I mean the question and answer before. Grounds. 403. That's overruled.
Miss Clark, what was Mr. Combs' demeanor when he threatened that if anything happened, he would have to kill you?
Calm.
Did you have the opportunity to observe him in this conversation?
Yes.
How did you perceive this threat?
Very serious.
Why is that?
I felt like there was some gravitas to the fact that he might have had issue with Suge.
I'm going to stop you right there, Miss Clark. What, if anything, did Mr. Ofer state when Mr. Combs made that threat to you?
Nothing.
Was he nearby?
He was
What was his demeanor?
calm, stoic.
How did you react when Mr. Combs threatened you?
I said, we'll just have to see.
What did you mean by that?
I meant there was nothing I can do in Central Park to convince him that I was a trustworthy person. I knew my character. I knew that I didn't have anything to do with any of the stuff that he would possibly have in his.
Objection, Judge.
That's sustained. The jury should disregard that witness answer. Ms.
Did
Steiner?
you did you continue to work for Mr. Combs after this incident?
I did.
Why did you continue to work for him?
I felt maybe I could have been more transparent.
Transparent about your background?
Yes.
Was this the only time that Mr. Combs threatened you?
No.
You testified that Mr. Ofer was with you at Central Park that night when Mr. Combs threatened you. Can you explain to the jury what Mr. Ofer's role entailed?
Mr. Alford was in charge of security, the security and protection of the principal, the movement, who's on staff as it relates to security, and the movements that we would make, and the logistical components of keeping Mr. Combs safe.
And he was the principal, Mr. Combs?
Yes.
And what is your understanding of how long Mr. Ofer had been working for Mr. Combs?
I knew he was there long before me. I didn't have a sense of the timing.
Did he continue working for Mr. Combs throughout your employment?
He did.
What, if any, other security did Mr. Combs have?
He had Roger Bonds, D Rock, and Ruben.
Ms. Foster, can you please put up what's in evidence as Government Exhibit 2A 202? Miss Clark, who is this image of?
D Rock.
And who generally is D Rock?
D Rock is a security guard and a friend, a very good friend of Biggie Smalls.
Can you describe his general appearance? We just have a face here.
He's about 6'3", 6'4", more slender, very solid. I would say quarterback, running back type body.
Did D Rock start working for Mr. Combs before or after you?
After me.
And if you know, where was D Rock working before that?
I don't believe he was working before that.
Miss Foster, can we please put up Government Exhibit 2A 205? Who is this an image of?
Ruben,
And who is Ruben?
D Rock's little brother.
Did he also work as a security for Mr. Combs?
He did.
And when did he start working for Mr. Combs?
He came later. I don't know exactly when, but it wasn't the same time as D Rock.
Miss Foster, if we can take that down and put up Government Exhibit 2A 201. Miss Clark, who is this an image of?
Roger Bonds,
Who is Roger Bonds?
another security guard. He started at the same time as I did.
We can take that down. Miss Clark, were the security guards we just referred to, D Rock and Roger Bands and Ruben and Mr. Olford, around Mr. Combs while you were working for him?
Yes, yes,
Generally, when would they be around Mr. Combs?
the entire day.
And how did the fact that Mr. Combs was surrounded by security affect you during your employment?
Objection, Judge.
Ms. Steiner, can you rephrase the question?
Of course. Miss Clark, you just testified a moment ago that Mr. Combs was surrounded by security through most of the day when you were employed by him. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did that have any effect on you?
It just let me know that there was always a serious nature around.
What
Yes.
What do you mean by a serious nature?
I'm going to object, Judge.
Sustain.
Did you ever observe Mr. Combs with a gun?
Yes.
When was that?
At my home.
Was that the kidnapping referred to earlier?
Yes.
We'll get back to that in a moment. When you were working as a personal assistant for Mr. Combs, did you ever hear Mr. Combs discuss guns?
Yes.
Once or more than once?
Once.
Can you describe that incident?
We were at MTV. He was doing MTV press with 50 Cent. And after the interview wrapped up, myself, Puff, and Chris Lighty got into the elevator.
Just to stop you for a moment. Who was Chris Lighty?
Chris Lighty was an amazing entertainment manager in the music industry. And he was on paper managing Puff at the time. And he was actually 50 Cent's manager at the time.
And what happened in that elevator?
Puff told Chris because they were having some sort of issue. Like, I really don't like all that back and forth. I don't do that. I like guns.
And what's the issue with an individual?
He had an issue with 50 Cent.
What was Mr. Combs' demeanor when he said that he liked guns?
Very serious.
Directing your attention to 2004, did there come a time when you were accused of theft?
Yes.
Approximately how long was this after you started working for Mr. Combs?
A couple of months.
Can you please describe generally what you were accused of stealing?
I was accused of stealing 3 pieces of very high end jewelry that was out on loan from Jacob the jeweler. There was a diamond necklace with a cross, a diamond bracelet, and a diamond watch.
Miss Clark, had you stolen a jewelry?
I did not.
Was there a time when the jewelry came into your possession?
Yes.
Why did it come into your possession?
Puff gave it to me.
Did he give it to you for safekeeping?
He gave it to me to take on the plane trip that we had that afternoon to Miami.
And who is this jewelry on loan to?
Mr. Combs.
Did there come a time on the highway to your trip to Miami that you realized the jewelry had gone missing?
Yes.
Where were you when you realized that?
A couple of yards away from Signature at Teterboro.
What did you do when you realized that the jewelry was missing?
I told the driver to stop the car, and I called security at 1440 and told them to lock everybody in and search them.
What, if anything, did you convey to Mr. Combs at that time?
I told him that his jewelry was missing.
And what did Mr. Combs do?
He said, "Okay, I'm going to go ahead to Miami. You go back with Paul."
And when he directed you to go back with Paul, where was he directing you to go?
1440 Broadway.
Where did you go after that?
Went to my home in Queens.
And we'll get back to that in a moment. But did you go back to 1440 Broadway?
Yes.
And you said you went with Paul. Is that Mr. Ofer?
Yes.
What, if anything, did Mr. Ofer do once you were back in the bad boy office?
He questioned me about the events leading up to the bag being missing.
The bag with the jewelry?
Yes.
How long was he questioning you for?
Couple of hours, 2.5, 3. Finished out the day.
And you mentioned that you also went to your home. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you go there from the bad boy office?
Yes.
Did you go by yourself or with someone else?
With someone else.
Who was that individual?
Paul offered.
What happened once you arrived at your residence?
Paul searched my house.
Can you describe what he did?
He went through my belongings. He went through my common areas. I had a roommate and just searched. He didn't find anything.
What, if anything, did Mr. Ofer tell you after he was unable to locate the jewelry?
He says, okay, I'll be back tomorrow. We need to figure this out. We'll try to figure out what's happening, what's going on.
Did Mr. Ofer pick you up the next day?
He did.
And where did Mr. Ofer take you at that time?
1710 Broadway.
Miss Foster, if you could please bring up for the witness the parties in the court what has been marked for identification as Government Exhibit 2B-112. Miss Clark, do you recognize this image?
I do.
What is it?
Bad Boy Worldwide.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of that building?
It is.
Government offers Government Exhibit 2B-112.
No objection.
To be what dash 112 will be admitted.
Miss Clark, you mentioned if we can publish that for the jury, please. You testify, Miss Clark, that you have been working at 1440 Broadway. Is that right?
Yes.
And that was also a bad boy building. Is that right?
Yes.
What was this building?
I didn't know.
At the time, you did not know?
I did not know.
Did you later find out what it was?
I did.
What is that?
It became our new corporate offices.
So Bad Boy eventually moved into this building.
Yes. And Sean John.
Directing your attention just to the front door of the building. Can you see that on the bottom left hand side?
I can.
Can you describe the doors?
A glass door, gold frame.
How did you enter this building with Mr. Ofer?
Through the front door.
And after you entered, was the front door kept open or locked behind you?
It was locked behind us.
How do you know that?
I could see the gentleman locking us in.
How could you see it?
Through the glass door.
We can take that down. Miss Clark, once you entered this building, 1710 Broadway, can you describe what the interior looked like at the time?
Dilapidated. Post move out. Post pre move in. The floors weren't really done on the level we were on. The floor wasn't done. There was like old pieces of permanent fixtures around that were sort of half taken out, but pretty much just a gutted building.
And again, at this time, did you know what this building was?
I had no idea.
Where were you brought inside this building?
I was brought to the sixth floor.
Who brought you there?
Paul Orford.
Can you describe what the sixth floor of the building looked like?
Similar, dilapidated, floors wasn't done, nothing built, and yet some old buildings kind of not completely removed. And there was a 6 foot folding table with some chairs in the middle of the room.
Was anyone present on the sixth floor when you arrived there with Mr. Ofer?
Yes,
Who was there?
there was a gentleman, a heavyset gentleman, who was chain smoking cigarettes and drinking black coffee.
Can you describe this individual's appearance?
Very wide, very heavy, looked like the size of two linebackers. He wasn't tall. He didn't stand very much either.
When you say size and width, was he very large?
Yes,
Can you describe this man's size relative to your own?
5 of me across. He was very wide.
Did you learn this man's name?
I did not.
Was anyone else with you on the sixth floor?
No.
And you said that Mr. Ofer had brought you to the sixth floor. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did he remain there?
No,
Do you have an understanding of where he went?
I do not.
Did he ever return to the sixth floor?
He did.
And when will he return to the sixth floor?
intermittently during the day.
So he was in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Did you speak with this heavyset man?
I did.
And what did he tell you was the reason you had been brought to this building?
He says, I had been brought to the building to take a lie detector test to figure out what happened with the jury.
What, if anything, did he say would happen if you did not pass the test?
He said, if you fail these tests, they're going to throw you in the East River.
Mimi.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. Move to strike the last answer. Can we approach for a second?
You may.
There's no indication of any of this coming from the defendant. I mean, we don't know who this man is. He's since been giving her a lie detector test, and this is just incendiary testimony about about her being threatened about thrown in the East River, which is, if it's believed, and I'm not here to quarrel with that at this point. There's nothing that say that Mr. Combs wanted any of this to happen, so it's unduly prejudicial. So I think for that reason, we object to it and move to strike it.
I'll let Miss Stewart respond. But when we addressed this before the jury came in, why didn't you mention any of this? Because I specifically addressed this testimony and I explained that there was a Second Circuit case that indicated that if there were any, there are threats, that's not hearsay. So it doesn't fit into hearsay exception based on the Ballinino case in 1999, and there was silence from the defense.
I thought they were going to tie this back to Mr. Combs, and I'm not hearing that. That's the missing link.
Okay, so there is an allegation of missing link, Miss Steiner.
And I've conferred with Mr. Agnifolio on this previously. As we established already in her testimony, this witness had laid the foundation that she was directed to go back to the bad boy office, the first bad boy office by Mr. Combs when the jury went missing. She was then personally escorted there by Mr. Ofer, who was his head of security, and reported directly to Mr. Combs. That's also in her testimony. Mr. Ofer was essentially the person escorting her, as she will continue to testify for the remainder of the week, to her apartment, back to her apartment, to this new building, the desert, the deserted building, back to her home, was checking in intermittently. She'll testify that she would have otherwise been by Mr. Combs' side from essentially 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. every single day. So I think the logical inference would be that Mr. Combs surely understood that she was not present and was elsewhere, and that Mr. Ofer again is acting on Mr. Combs' head of security at his direction in terms of any security operation.
All right.
But now we're afield even from Mr. Overt, Offert. And that's the reason I'm objecting now, is that he's gone and she's with this unknown man who is giving her a lie detector test, and the connection between that man and Mr. Combs is just not existent at this point.
I don't think that's a fair characterization of the testimony, but I understand your argument. The objection is overruled. Miss Steiner, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Clark, I'll ask you the question again. What was the man's demeanor when he made the threat that they would throw you in the East River?
Very serious, very direct. No frills. This was a serious conversation.
How did you react?
I was petrified.
Did this man proceed to administer the lie detector test?
He did.
At that time, did you want to be taking the test?
I did not.
Why did you permit him to do that?
I was afraid of what would happen if I didn't pass the lie detector test. And I felt the test was the only way to get through this thing.
Can you describe how the test is administered?
They strap some stuff to your chest And then they strap some stuff to your arms and they ask you a series of questions over and over again.
What types of questions were you asked?
Did I steal the jury? Did I come up with an idea to steal the jury? Did I plan with somebody to steal the jury? Had I ever stolen from him? Just a lot of stealing centric questions.
From him. Was that Mr. Combs?
Yes,
Did this man tell you the result of the test?
they said they were inconclusive.
What, if anything, did the man tell you about the results being inconclusively?
It's like, I'm not getting a good reading. You need to calm down. You're going to be in the East River if I can't get a reading on this.
When he told you to calm down, how had you been reacting in that moment?
I couldn't calm down. I was doing a good job. I wasn't doing a good job at calming down.
Approximately how long were you in this deserted building on that day?
Full work day.
On this full work day, approximately how long was the man administering the lie detector test on you?
Intermittently all day.
And if you know, was anyone else inside the building at the time?
Not to my knowledge.
During the hours that you were in 1710 Broadway, were you able to leave?
No,
Why not?
we weren't allowed to leave.
Who told you you weren't allowed to leave?
Paul,
Paul offered?
yes,
And was the door also locked at the time to the building?
it was locked.
Was it locked from the inside or the outside?
Locked from the outside.
Did you attempt to leave the building?
I did not.
Why did you not attempt to leave the building?
That was the opposite of what I was there to do. I was to prove my innocence. I was
How,
there to prove my innocence.
how did you eventually leave the building?
Paul took me home.
And what, if anything, did Paul, Mr. Alford, tell you when he brought you home?
He told me I'll be back tomorrow to get you. We still got to figure this out.
What happened the next day?
He came back and got me.
Who was that?
Paul offered.
What happened the next day?
We started again.
And when you say you started again, were you administered a lie detector test again?
Yes,
Is that at the same location?
same location.
For approximately how many hours?
All day.
Who escorted you to that location?
Paul offered.
Are you free to leave on that second day?
I was not.
Why not?
I was told I was not able to leave until we got to the bottom of this.
Who told you that?
Paul offered.
Approximately how many days were you required to go to 1710 Broadway to take this lie detector test?
5.
And who, if anyone, picked you up from your residence, brought you there, and returned you each day?
Paul offered.
Why did you continue to go with Mr. Arthur to that building, 1710 Broadway?
I wanted to prove my innocence. I didn't like the threats.
And can you say that again?
I didn't like the threats. I just wanted to get through it.
And the threats that you're referring to, is that the threat to be thrown in the East River?
Yes,
Did you did you want to be taking the lie detector test over these 5 days?
I did not.
Why did you continue to take the test?
I felt like it was the only way to prove that I had nothing to do with it.
Miss Clark, during this 5 day period, did you tell anyone where you were?
I did not.
Why not?
I just did not. I was in a different headspace. I was just trying to survive it.
Did you report the incident to law enforcement?
I did not.
Why not?
I worked under a NDA. I didn't.
Object to that, Judge.
That's sustained. The jury should disregard the witness' last answer. Miss Steiner?
Did Mr. Combs ever reach out to you during this 5 day period?
He did not.
During this 5 day period, did he ever ask where you were?
Not to me.
Typically, what would you have been doing during a 5-day period like this?
I would I would have been shadowing him. I would have worked him up, and I would have been there through the course of the day until about 4 o'clock in the morning.
When you say you would be shadowing him and be with him, who are you referring to?
Mr. Combs,
And where were you instead?
1710 Broadway,
Doing what?
taking lie detector tests.
What, if anything, happened after those 5 days?
I was told I could return to work Monday.
Who told you that?
Paul offered.
And what, if anything, did Mr. Alfred tell you at that time about seeing Mr. Combs?
He said you'll see him sometime next week in the office.
Did he give you any directions with respect to how to interact with Mr. Combs?
He did not.
And who is Mr. Alfred's direct boss?
Sean Combs.
Did Mr. Combs ever discuss the theft or the lie detector test with you after you returned to the office?
He did not.
Do you know if the jury was ever located?
I do not.
Miss Clark, did you continue to work for Mr. Combs after this incident?
I did.
Why did you continue to work for him?
Well, I felt if I would have left, it would have been written off as I stole anyway.
Miss Clark, when you returned to the office, when you returned to work, did Mr. Combs ask where you had been?
He did not.
Generally, what hours were you required to work as Mr. Combs' personal assistant?
Probably start off the day at his townhouse on 74th and Park at 9 o'clock in the morning and finish at Daddy's house or wherever he were, sometimes around 4 a.m.
What's Daddy's house?
Recording studio.
Who determined how long a day would be for you?
Puh.
What types of tasks would you be given from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m.?
Um, Give him a carnation for his suit. Print out documents. Something, something he wants to show someone. Research something that he had on his mind. Roll calls. Get his food.
A variety of tasks.
Anything that he needed to do as our job. Yes,
What, if anything, will Mr. Combs tell you if you fail to accomplish a task?
you will lose your job.
Is that what he would say?
Yes,
Generally, what, if any, breaks would you get during the day for basic needs like eating?
none.
How much sleep were you getting each night?
On a good night, 4. On a bad night, 2.
What, if any, medical conditions did you develop as a result of this?
Object to the form of question.
I can rephrase, Your Honor. What, if any, medical conditions did you develop when you were a personal assistant for Mr. Combs?
Alopecia.
What is alopecia?
It's a stress induced condition where you get bald on your head.
Did you
Bald
seek
patches on your head.
I'm sorry. Did you seek medical attention?
I did.
And what medical recommendation did you receive to treat the condition?
Told me to calm down and try to distress somehow.
How much were you compensated for your work as a personal assistant to Mr. Combs?
$65,000.
Were you working overtime?
Yes.
Sounds like you must have been, because you worked till 4 a.m. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
What, if any, discussions did you have with HR about being paid for overtime?
I went to them and told them I'm working basically 24/7 and I'm not making enough money. And she sat with me to calculate my overtime.
And who is she?
Vashta Dunlap,
And what was her role?
head of HR.
Did she calculate your overtime?
She did.
What did she calculate?
She calculated
Object to the form of question, Judge.
Miss Steiner, you can rephrase the question.
Of course. What, if any, discussions did Vashta have with Mr. Combs in your presence?
She sat down to review the overtime due diligence that she had worked out to present to him for my overtime.
What did she present to him?
She said that I was owed $80,000 per 3 month period in my assistant era.
How did Mr. Combs respond?
He ripped up the paper.
Were you paid that $80,000 that Vashta referred to at that time?
I was not.
I want to discuss some of your job responsibilities when you were working as Mr. Combs' personal assistant. While you were working in that role, were there times that Mr. Combs would stay at hotels?
Yes,
And if you know, who would he stay there with?
Kim Porter,
How frequently would he stay at a hotel with Miss Porter?
once a week,
And what, if anything, was your role with respect to hotels when Mr. Combs would travel?
to pack and bring and unpack his personal effects.
Generally, what names would Mr. Combs' hotel rooms be booked under?
Frank Black, Frank White,
And generally, what names would any of his girlfriend's rooms be booked under?
Jackie Starr,
Which hotels did Mr. Combs frequent most when he traveled outside of New York?
in Atlanta, it was the Intercontinental Buckhead. In Los Angeles, it was the Beverly Hills Hotel.
And when Mr. Combs would travel to outside of New York and have these hotel stays, how would you set up the room?
I would unpack all of his clothes and shoes and personal belongings and put them in their place, and it would be set.
And what did those belongings include?
Clothes, toiletry bag, and camera bag.
Let's take those one at a time. So what's the camera bag?
Camera box, actually.
Camera box.
It was a silver, at that time, it was silver, like 45 record carrier purpose, and it had three point and shoot cameras and one small mini DV camera.
Was there anything else in the camera box?
A small bottle of baby oil and a small bottle of lube.
What, if any, lightning was in the hotel?
No lighting. We brought his diptyque diptyque candles. That was it.
You also mentioned a toiletry bag.
Yes,
Would that be brought to the hotel room?
yes.
What was inside of that bag?
Toiletries, medications, drugs,
What type of drugs would be in the toiletry bag?
ecstasy,
Can you describe what the toiletry bag looked like?
black, top zip, Louis Vuitton.
How frequently would Mr. Combs bring the toiletry bag with him to a hotel stay?
100% of the time.
How frequently would he bring the camera box to the hotel stay?
100% of the time.
About how long would Mr. Combs stay in a hotel room after you set it up for him?
3 to 4 days.
During these hotel stays, what would you be doing?
Watching TV, catching up on sleep, and ordering room service.
And will Mr. Combs reach out to you at all during this time?
A couple of times.
Infrequently?
Infrequently.
What, if any, responsibilities did you have after one of Mr. Combs' hotel stays?
To pack up his belongings and sweep the room from anything that might be left behind.
What, if any, damage did you observe in the hotel rooms after his stays?
Just baby oil. At the Intercontinental, I would see like handprints left in oil on the like ultra suede wall.
How frequently did you observe damage from baby oils in the room?
Frequently, but it was a lot. It was just a lot of baby oil. It was just everywhere. It wasn't necessarily always on the wall.
Earlier, you testified that by 2008, you were Mr. Combs' global brand director. Is that correct?
Yes,
And at that time, was Mr. Combs still going to hotels with women?
yes,
Did you still have a role in setting up those hotels?
I did not.
And if you know, which women would he bring to hotels most frequently at that time?
Kim Porter, Cassandra Ventura.
Miss Foster, can you please bring up what's in evidence as Government Exhibit 28-401? Miss Clark, who is this?
Cassandra Ventura.
You can take that down. How frequently will Mr. Combs stay at a hotel with Cassandra Ventura when you returned in 2008 as his global brand director?
I would say once a week.
Approximately how long will these hotel stays last?
3 to 4 days.
What hotels will Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura typically go to?
Beverly Hills Hotel, Les Hermitage, London.
And what, if anything, will Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura do after a hotel stay?
They started getting IV drips.
What, if anything, did Mr. Combs tell you about why they were getting these IV drips?
I asked. He was. He related it. It's similar to serotonin supplements because ecstasy depletes your serotonin. It's just replenishing us from partying over the weekend.
From the drugs?
Yes,
Did Mr. Combs ever speak with you about his relationship with Miss Ventura?
he did.
And did one of those discussions occur in 2010?
Yes,
Where were you at that time?
we were in his first rental house in Los Angeles.
And do you know the address for those locations?
I think 9933 Beverly Grove.
Who was present during this discussion?
Myself, Puff, Laura London, Chef Jordan was in the kitchen, but
Who's Chef Jordan?
it was his personal chef at the time.
Who was Lauren London?
Lauren London is a friend, and she also was an associate of us, all of ours, because she had once modeled for Sean John.
Where were you located in the house during this discussion?
We were in the kitchen.
What did Mr. Combs discuss with you at that time?
He was discussing with us why he didn't have a man like him.
What did he do?
He said, "Let me show you something."
What did he do next?
He called Cassie over and asked her to sit down, stand up, turn around, turn the other way, walk over there, grab that, hand me that, walk back, turn around, go back into the other room.
How did Cassie respond? How did Cassie respond, or Miss Ventura?
She did it. Hello?
We hear you.
I said she did it.
She followed each of his instructions.
Yes.
After Miss Ventura left the room, what, if anything, did Mr. Combs say?
He said, "Did you see that?" He said, "You bitches won't do that. That's why you don't have a man." To which we said, "You mother effing right."
During your employment, did you ever observe Mr. Combs using drugs?
I did.
What types of drugs?
Ecstasy, Molly,
And how often did you observe Mr. Combs taking these drugs?
once a week.
Did the frequency of his drug use change over time?
Yes,
How so?
it increased.
To more than once a week?
Yes.
During what period?
After I was an assistant, I think it increased. I think it was the most contained when I was his assistant.
Other than Molly, ecstasy, did he take any other drugs you were aware of?
He did
What drugs?
like prescription medications.
Who, if any, drug dealers would Mr. Combs obtain drugs from?
Object to the form of question.
I can rephrase. Did Mr. Combs obtain drugs?
Yes,
Did you observe that?
yes.
And who would he obtain drugs from?
He had a girlfriend in New York that he could get drugs from.
Did he obtain drugs from anyone else?
Not really in New York, no.
How about in Los Angeles?
Yes,
Who would he obtain drugs from in Los Angeles?
one stop.
Miss Foster, if you could please bring up what's in evidence as Government Exhibit 2A 507. Miss Clark, do you recognize this individual?
I do.
Who is this?
One stop.
And what types of drugs did you observe Mr. Combs obtain from One Stop?
Ecstasy, Molly,
Where were the drugs delivered?
either to me or to Puff directly.
Where?
Either to myself or Puff directly.
But where would it be delivered to?
Either a hotel or a house, wherever we were staying at the time.
You can take this down. Thank you. Did Mr. Combs ever ask you to obtain drugs for him?
Yes,
What drug would he ask you to obtain most frequently?
ecstasy.
Approximately how many times did he ask you to personally get him ecstasy?
Not more than 10 times in my career with him. He could get it on his own.
Object to the last part, Judge. Move the strike.
Granted, the jury should disregard the last sentence and the witness answer. Ms. Steiner?
Who, if anyone, did you observe Mr. Combs provide drugs to?
Girlfriends, friends.
Did Mr. Combs ever ask you to obtain drugs for others?
Yes,
On how many occasions?
once.
Approximately when was that?
It was summer of 2006, I believe,
Where were you at the time?
in the south of France.
What did Mr. Combs ask you to obtain in the south of France?
Cocaine.
How did you respond when he asked you to get cocaine?
I said, for who?
Why did you react that way?
Because it wasn't going to be something that I was going to add to my list of things to do, given that how my mother died, given that's how my mother died.
Objection. Objection, Judge. Can we approach again, Judge?
You may.
This is becoming just a wholesale character assassin. I'm not sure what many of these things have to do with the charges. The drugs, I understand, because there's a drug predicate as part of the racketeering count. But to have the witness add that this is how her mother died, it's just it's just too much. It's not targeted at allegations, and so I object.
All right, I understand, Miss Steiner.
She has said that before. I think her primary thing was that she was willing to get some drugs and not others for him. I think she does not always say that. Sometimes she did. I thought it was important to distinguish why, on this one occasion, she was unwilling to comply with the directive, given her job was to follow all of his directives. But I can move on from the question.
Let's move on.
Miss Clark, you testified that you refused to get cocaine from Mr. Combs. Is that correct?
Yes, yes,
Or initially, at least, is that correct?
yes,
How did Mr. Combs respond when you said, I believe you said, who is this for?
yes.
How did he respond to that?
Not me, Igga.
Was the cocaine obtained?
It was.
Was the cocaine for someone else?
It was for someone else.
How is the cocaine obtained?
I had the Spanish security guards get it.
Did Mr. Combs ever ask you to obtain prescription drugs for him?
He did.
Generally, what time of day?
Any time of the day, but mostly at night.
Were these sedatives?
I believe so.
Were these prescription drugs always in Mr. Combs' name?
No,
Whose whose name were they sometimes in?
my name,
Why were they in your name at times?
because I had exceeded the amount of controlled substances I could get on Miami Beach.
Under Mr. Combs' name?
Yes,
When the prescription drugs were in your name, who were they for?
Mr. Combs.
Did Mr. Combs ever travel with any of these drugs?
Yes,
How frequently?
all the time.
And when he traveled with the drugs, where would the drugs be contained in?
In the toiletry bag.
Who would carry the toiletry bag?
Myself or security.
Did Mr. Combs ever carry the bag?
He did.
This is the toiletry bag, correct?
Yes, the toiletry bag.
Did you ever see Mr. Combs with bulk cash?
I did.
Would you see him with bulk cash?
I'm going to object to this. I don't know what bulk cash is. I don't know if the witness does either. I'm sorry.
Miss Steiner, can you play some foundation or rephrase?
Of course, Your Honor. If I could just ask a couple of questions to lay out a foundation, Your Honor.
You may.
Thank you. Miss Clark, did you see Mr. Combs with large amounts of cash during your employment?
I did.
When we say large amounts of cash, approximately how much money are we talking about?
In my case, 100,000 euro.
And where would you see Mr. Combs with 100,000 euro?
Primarily coming back from Europe.
Where will he receive the cash from?
We would get it from club bookings in Europe.
What did Mr. Combs do once he received this cash?
Keep it.
Who would he provide it to?
Once he would turn it over to the security after I gave it to them.
When you had the money, what were you doing with the money?
I was counting the money
Who would you give the money to after you counted it?
directly to Puff.
If you know, where was the cash stored once it was back in the United States?
It appeared to me that it was always kept in his bedroom personal safe.
During your employment with Mr. Combs, what, if any, violence did you observe?
I observed fighting,
What kind of fighting?
him fighting men.
Can you describe who?
Paul offered.
Anyone else?
His barber, Curtis Smith,
What, if any, objects would Mr. Combs throw at people?
phones,
When would he do that?
when he was upset,
Did he do that once or more than once?
often.
Was Mr. Combs ever violent with you during your employment?
Yes,
Approximately when was that?
summer of 2006.
Where were you at the time?
In his home in Two Star Island, Miami.
And what, if anything, did Mr. Combs tell you when you had arrived at Two Star Island in Miami?
He told me, I don't care what goes on this weekend. You are not to leave this house.
Did Mr. Combs later send you on an errand?
He did.
Where to?
Pharrell Williams, who was a music producer, his manager came over and was dropped off by boat on the back dock for a quick meeting. He had me return Paul Rob Walker to Palm Island, where they were shooting a video.
Did Mr. Combs direct you to do that?
He did.
Approximately how long did you remain on the other island?
An hour,
What were you doing during that time?
hanging out.
When did you next hear from Mr. Combs?
About an hour into the phone, about an hour I'm on the phone, I got a call.
What did he say?
Where the F are you?
What did you do after you got that call?
I went back to Star Island.
What, if anything, did Mr. Combs tell you when you returned to Star Island?
He said, "See, your problem is you want a life and you can't have that here."
What, if anything, did he direct you with respect to the rest of the weekend?
He said, "Like I said, don't go anywhere. You are not to leave this house."
What happened the next morning?
I woke up and I went to the kitchen to get some breakfast.
What happened then?
I was making my plate. The chef was there. She was tired. I asked her where the turkey bacon was. She said, "There is no more effing turkey bacon." She was very upset from a long night, and I said, "I hate it here."
And what, if anything, did the chef then tell Mr. Combs in your presence?
She then walked outside to where Puff was standing on the back deck and told her what I said. It exasperated her. He immediately looked at me and said, "You hate it here?" And he charged me.
When you say he charged you, can you describe what he did physically to you?
He ran towards me with his hands open and pushed me, my shoulders, and started pushing me back
In what direction?
out towards out towards the front entrance of the kitchen through the butler's pantry.
Approximately how far did he push you?
About 25, 30 yards.
And how was he pushing you? Just to make sure the record is reflecting the witness with open hands.
Open hands right here on my shoulder, like you know.
The top of your shoulders? What, if anything, was Mr. Combs telling you while he was pushing you in this way?
He said, "You hate it here? Get the F out of my house. You hate it here? Get the F out of my house." And he repeated it until we were outside.
Can you describe the amount of force that Mr. Combs was using when he was pushing you?
I would say 75%. I never fell. I kept catching myself.
Did anyone intervene?
Yes,
Who?
Paul offered.
What did Paul offer do?
He told Puff to stop and he told me to go pack my things.
Did you follow his instructions?
I did.
And after this incident, when Mr. Combs pushed you through his house, did you leave your employment?
I did.
Why did you leave?
That was crossing my boundary.
I want to direct your attention now to a few years later in 2011. Had you returned to work for Mr. Combs by that point in time?
Yes,
What was your role at that time?
I was global brand director.
Why had you returned to work for Mr. Combs after that incident at Two Star?
Um, my first role back was director of marketing for Sean John. He was impressed with that. He was impressed with what I was doing in my job that I had left for. I got a couple of numbers, one albums.
Who was he? Sorry to interrupt you.
Puff was very impressed with my work at my new place and was like, "I'm starting a woman's line. You wouldn't have to work directly with me, but you can work for me and it will be something right up your alley." And it was paying more than Samba Records was.
Is that where you were employed?
Yes,
Why was it important for you not to work directly with Mr. Combs?
I didn't want that close proximity of his personal orbit like that anymore. I didn't want to be in his house. I didn't want to be trapped in a house. I was growing. I was 28 by then.
Hold on a second, y'all. Can you guys share the this live because it's not going anywhere. It's not being shared, and my people been reading, and it's only a little bit of people. So y'all guys are just sucking it up and not sharing. We need the numbers, y'all. Sorry, guys.
What, what, if any, work were you also doing for Miss Ventura in 2011?
I was her creative director and manager,
What did that role involve?
coming up with a direction up for her, coming up with creative for videos, positioning. What are we talking about? What's the look? Answering the interview questions, managing the model portfolio, trying to generally maximize her opportunity and optics for her.
And who did you report to generally on Miss Ventura's projects?
Sean Combs,
And who had approval over Miss Ventura's work?
Sean Combs,
What was approval required for by Mr. Combs?
schedule hair, makeup, look at we what we said yes to, what we said no to. Everything he had final approval on.
In 2011, were you spending time in both New York and Los Angeles?
I was.
Why was that?
We all lived in New York. However, we,
We? Sorry to interrupt you again. When you say we, who are you referring to?
staff, Mr. Combs, myself, just a general bad boy team as it related to him. We were going back and forth because we had followed Kim Porter to LA.
Where in LA were you living in 2011?
1420 Ambassador is a gated community.
Who was paying your rent?
Sean Combs, bad boy.
Was Mr. Combs also living in LA in 2011?
He was.
And are you familiar with the address 9374 Beverly Crest Drive?
I am.
What is that address?
That was his second rental property in Los Angeles.
After the property you referred to earlier,
Yes,
did you know approximately during what time period he lived at that property?
I couldn't be specific, but I know that it was before he actually found a house to buy.
And he was there in 2011?
Yes,
Generally, where was Miss Ventura living at this time?
she still lived in New York on the West End.
Would Miss Ventura visit Los Angeles?
She would,
And generally, where would she stay in Los Angeles when she visited?
with him, Mr. Combs.
Did she stay anywhere else?
Yes,
Where?
with me or any hotel.
How frequently was Miss Ventura staying with you in 2011?
About 30% of the time. We had a lot of work.
She would stay in was it an apartment?
Yes,
What was your relationship with Miss Ventura at that time?
creative director and manager and friend.
In December 2011, who, if anyone, was Miss Ventura seeing aside from Mr. Combs?
Scott Mescudi, Kid Cudi.
Miss Foster, if you can please put up in evidence Government Exhibit 2A 501. Miss Clark, do you recognize this individual?
Yes,
Who is this?
Scott Mescudi.
How do you refer to him?
Cudi,
Cuddy?
Cudi.
We can take that down. How did you learn that Mr. or that Miss Ventura was seeing Mr. Muscuddy? Miss- mm,
She
Muscudi.
brought him to my apartment for a little hangout and we cooked.
Had you also been to his residence?
After, yes,
Did Miss Ventura ever communicate directly with you about Mr. Muscuddy?
yes.
How did she communicate with you?
She has sent me a text. I was picking her up one day. We were going to Runyon Canyon, which is a Los Angeles place where you hike, and she asked if he could join us.
How did you react when you received that text message?
Not well. It was a bad idea. I responded, I don't think we should go to Runyon. There is too many people there. If he comes, we need to go to Fryman Canyon. Delete this text
Why did you direct Miss Ventura to delete the text?
because that's the second everything got it so tricky when she texted me.
I just want to stop you for a moment, Miss Clark. What, if any, concern did you have about Mr. Combs learning about Mr. Muscati?
Very concerned.
Why did you believe? Well, who paid for your phone?
Mr. Combs paid for my phone. She's texted me on the phone he pays for. On a phone he pays for. It's not a good idea.
After that happened, did Miss Ventura change the way that she communicated with Mr. Muscati?
Yes,
How so?
I took her to Best Buy to buy a burner phone.
Why did you take her to Best Buy to buy a burner phone?
The way she was moving, she was going to get us all killed.
Was Mr. Combs?
I'm sorry.
Sustained. The jury should disregard the witness' last answer.
I had to check.
Wh-
Was Mr. Combs in town at the was Mr. Combs in town at this time?
No,
Approximately how long after this did Mr. Combs return to town?
not long after.
And do you know if he and Miss Ventura went anywhere after he returned?
Yes,
Where did they go?
Mr. C's, the Cipriani Hotel,
Where was the Cipriani Hotel located relative to your residence?
one city light away.
When did you next see Mr. Combs after he went to the Cipriani Hotel with Miss Ventura?
I saw him in the morning of December the 22nd, 2011.
At approximately what time of day?
It was sometime between 5:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning.
What, if anything, did you hear at that time?
I heard a loud banging at my door,
What did the banging sound like?
like metal on metal.
What material was your door made of?
Metal.
Did Mr. Combs have keys to your apartment that you knew of?
He did not.
Were you able to observe who was outside of your door?
Yes,
How so?
through the peephole.
What did you observe through the peephole of your door?
Mr. Combs,
Can you describe what you were able to observe through the peephole?
a very upset Puff. He was pacing, he was moving around a little bit. He was just anxious, I could tell. But he was furious. That was evident.
I'm going to object to the question as what she saw.
Miss Clark, when Miss Steiner is asking you a question, just answer the question. And Miss Steiner will ask you the follow up as she needs it. Okay?
Okay.
Miss Steiner?
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you describe the movement of his body outside of your door?
He was pacing, and the body language looked like he had something in his hand.
Why do you say that? Can you describe what you observed?
Just like the body language, I could see like his shoulders. It was something like he was moving in his hand. I couldn't really see through the peephole all the way down, but the body language was giving me like he's holding something.
Did you open the door for Mr. Combs?
I did.
Why?
He was upset. Part of my job is to make sure that the name of likeness is okay. And he's outside my door. I just get to it just get to it what it is this.
What did you observe when you opened your door?
I saw Mr. Combs.
Can you describe Mr. Combs at that time?
He had a white button down shirt with a button down sweater, business slacks, gray slacks, and nice shoes.
And can you describe what the slacks look like?
His pants were gray and they were split. open from the knee to through the crotch so I could see his underwear.
Can you describe his face?
Furious, no glasses on,
Did you notice anything in his hand?
a gun.
Did Mr. Combs enter your apartment holding a gun?
Yes.
And when did Mr. Combs tell you once he was inside of your apartment?
He said, "Why didn't you tell me?"
How did you respond?
I said, "I don't know what you're talking about."
What did he say next?
He said, "Who is Scott?" I said, "I don't know any Scott."
What did he say? What did Mr. Combs say after that?
He said, "Kid Cudi." I said, "Oh, Cassie's friend?"
What, if anything, did Mr. Combs state about Kid Cudi, Mr. Muscuddy?
He just said, "Get dressed. We're going to kill this nigga,
Who did you understand him to be referring to?
Cudi."
And when Mr. Combs said or directed you to get dressed to go and kill Mr. Muscuddy, where was the gun?
In his hand.
When Mr. Combs directed you to go and get dressed, how did you respond?
I don't want to go.
How did Mr. Combs respond when you said you did not want to go?
He said, "I don't give a F what you want to do. Go get dressed."
Was the gun still visible to you at this point?
He had put it in his waist when I moved to get dressed.
The waist of his pants?
Yes.
Can you please describe Mr. Combs' demeanor during this conversation where he directs you to go get dressed?
Livid, furious, mad at me.
What, if any, concerns did you have for your safety?
I had never seen anything like this before. I've never come to, he had never come to my house in an entire time I known him. I've never seen him with a weapon. I've never seen him making me do something like this.
Did you make any attempts to escape your apartment?
I did not.
Why not?
The way he was acting, I just felt like anything could happen.
I'm going to object, Judge.
Let's move on. Miss Steiner,
Miss Clark, did you follow Mr. Combs' instructions and get dressed?
I did.
Did you leave your apartment building with Mr. Combs?
I did.
When you left your apartment building, did he still have the gun at that time?
He did.
Where was it?
When we got in the car, it was in his lap.
Before you got in the car, was it visible to you?
I was in front of him when we were walking to the car, so.
You don't know?
But he brought it with us, yes.
When you exited the building with Mr. Combs, who was there?
Reuben.
Can you remind the jury who Reuben is?
Reuben is D-Rock's little brother, security guard, who was added last to the team.
Where was Reuben?
Reuben was in the driver's seat of the Cadillac Escalade.
What color was the Escalade?
Black.
Can you describe that car?
Black executive class Cadillac Escalade with the captain chair so that you don't have to climb over the back seat. You just walk through.
Is an Escalade an SUV?
Yes.
What seat was Reuben in?
Driver's seat.
Did you get into the vehicle?
I did.
Where did you get into the vehicle?
The first row of the back seats on the right hand side in the captain chair.
Did Mr. Combs enter the vehicle?
He did.
And where did he enter the vehicle?
In the back seat in the left captain chair behind Reuben.
Was that next to where you were sitting?
Yes.
Is that where Mr. Combs would usually sit in his vehicle?
Not typically.
Where would he usually sit?
In the front passenger seat.
Where was the gun when Mr. Combs was sitting next to you?
In his lap.
Were you able to leave the Escalade?
No.
Why not?
We were moving, but no, I was not allowed.
Before you got moving.
I was not allowed. It was very fast. We got into the car very quickly. It was immediately at the bottom of the stairwell.
When you say you were not allowed, did anyone tell you you couldn't leave the Escalade?
It wasn't a conversation. It was where we were going. There was no conversation about being allowed to leave or not.
There was no conversation. It happened very quickly.
Yes,
Where did you go with Mr. Combs and Reuben?
we went to Cuddy's house in the Hollywood Hills.
Approximately how long is the drive from your residence at the time to Mr. Muscuddy's house?
If you're pushing it, you can do it 15 to 20 minutes.
Miss Foster, can you please put up, just for the witnesses, the parties, and the court, what has been marked for identification as Government Exhibit 2C101? Do you recognize this, Miss Clark?
I do.
What is it?
A map of my house to Cuddy's house.
Is it a fair and accurate depiction of a map of your house to Cuddy's house?
It is. It's not the route I would take, but it is.
Government offers Government Exhibit 2C101.
No objection.
2C-101 will be admitted.
Can you identify on this map where your residence was located at the time?
It's next to the Museum of Tolerance in Century City, 1420 Ambassador.
Can you identify where Mr. Muscuddy's residence was at the time?
Cuddy's house was at 88925 Hollywood Hills Road, up Laurel Canyon, at part of Laurel Canyon called Wonderland.
At the top of the map?
Yes,
Miss Foster, please take that down and put up what is in evidence as Government Exhibit AC-102. Do you recognize this image?
I do.
What generally is depicted in this photograph?
Cuddy's front door.
At the time you went to Mr. Muscuddy's house, did you know whether or not he was home?
I did not.
What, if anything, did Mr. Combs and Reuben do after you arrived at the home?
They entered the house.
Were you still in the car?
I stayed in the car.
Were you able to leave the car?
No,
Why were you not able to leave?
I probably could have left, but I didn't.
What were you afraid of if you left?
Objection to leading.
Sustained.
Were you able to see into the residence?
Yes,
How were you able to do that?
that door right there was open into the courtyard.
What did you observe Mr. Combs and Reuben do on the property?
Fidget around trying to gain access, and they gained access.
And what if, when you say gain access, do you mean to the residence?
Yeah, beyond this door is another outdoor courtyard area, and there is another house door set back further past this door. So, yes,
Which did they gain? What did you observe them gain access to?
after they gain access here, they gain access to the main door to the actual property that's beyond this wall.
What, if anything, did you do while Mr. Combs and Reuben were on the property out of the car?
I called Cassie
What phone number did you call her on?
on the burner phone.
And when did you tell Cassie? And what did you tell Cassie when you called her?
Cassie, what the F? And I asked her where she was at.
What, if anything else, did you tell her?
I told her that Puff came, got me with a gun, and brought me to Cuddy's house to kill him.
And what, if anything, did you do to contact? Did you do to the contact number for Cassie's burner phone on your phone after you made that call?
I changed it to my best friend's name. I changed it to Stormy.
Why is that?
I was thinking very smart, but I just didn't want it to stay as Cassie's backup phone. I didn't want him to know it was Cassie's phone.
Who did you not want to know?
Puff.
And when you were speaking with Miss Ventura on the phone, did you hear anyone else on the phone?
Yes,
Who did you hear?
I could hear yelling in the background.
What did you hear?
I heard someone say, "He's in my house." And I said, "Who is that?" She said, "Scott." And I couldn't hear him running out. And I said, "Cassie, stop him. He's going to come get himself killed." And she was like, "I can't."
Did Mr. Combs return from the house to the vehicle after that call?
He did.
And what, if anything, did he do when he returned to the car?
He said, "Who are you talking to?"
What did he do next?
He asked to see my phone.
Did you give him your phone?
I did.
What happened next?
He called back the last number I was speaking to.
Was that Miss Ventura's burner number?
It was.
And what did he say when he called back that number?
What the F is this number?
And how, if at all, did Mr. Combs react to Cassie having, or Miss Ventura having a new number?
He's livid more so than already.
What, if anything, happened after Mr. Combs spoke with Miss Ventura on the phone?
We heard a very fast moving engine coming up the hill.
What happened next?
Out of the corner of my eye, I could see that it was Cudi. Puff looked at my face. I guess I gave him a visual cue that it was him. And he goes, "There's that nigga right there."
What happened next?
Cudi pulled up next to the Cadillac Escalade, came to a complete stop, looked, and then took off and sped up to the hill. Puff and Rube just jumped in the car and we started chasing him.
How long was this chase?
It felt like forever, but couldn't have been longer than a minute.
What, if any, other cars did you observe while you were driving at this time?
Cuddy lost us. We turned south down Laurel Canyon. We heard sirens and we passed the police.
In what direction were the police headed?
They were headed north on Laurel Canyon. He were headed south on Laurel Canyon.
Were they headed in the direction of Mr. Muscotty's residence?
They were.
How, if at all, did Mr. Combs react to the police cars passing you?
It calmed him down.
Can you describe what you mean by that?
He just started to maybe, for the first time that morning, pull himself together.
Where did Ruben and you and Mr. Combs go to next?
We went, we stopped at the Key Club.
And what, if anything, did Mr. Combs instruct you when you stopped at the Key Club?
Told me to call Cassie.
And just for context, how far is the Key Club from Mr. Muscotty's residence?
The Key Club is on Sunset. Maybe depending on how you're driving, 2.5 minutes down Sunset. West west of Cuddy's home.
And what is the Key Club?
Key Club was a nightclub that's been on Sunset forever. It had a million names. It was the Key Club, and then it was One Oak, and it's the Key Club again.
Did you follow Mr. Combs' instructions to get Miss Ventura on the phone?
I did.
And what, if anything, did Mr. Combs instruct you to tell Miss Ventura?
He told me to tell Cassie that he has he has me, and he's not going to let me go until I come get her.
Did you convey that message to Miss Ventura?
I did.
And when you conveyed that message to Miss Ventura, where was Mr. Combs in the vehicle relative to yourself?
He was standing outside of the vehicle by the window.
And you said he was standing outside the vehicle by your window? Was he able to hear the discussion?
Yes,
Did you remain in the vehicle or did you exit the vehicle at any point?
I sat in the vehicle
Why did you stay in the vehicle?
because we were just stopping to make the call and then continuing on. He was the only person that got out. Rube didn't get out either.
How did Miss Ventura respond when you told her Mr. Combs' message that I believe you said he has you and that Well, I don't want. Maybe you can say it. I don't want to mischaracterize your.
He has me. He won't let me go until I come get you. To which Cassie said,
Hold on. Let's get the question.
What did Miss Ventura respond?
she said, okay, come get me.
Did you, when Cassie, Miss Ventura, said that, what was her tone?
Calm.
Did you return to Mr. Cohn's residence after that call?
I did.
Who drove you there?
Reuben
What, if any, instructions did Mr. Combs give you at that time?
told me once you get Cassie, you guys need to go talk with Cudi and convince him to not tell the police that it was me.
Did he tell you anything else?
He says, if you guys don't convince him of that, I'll kill all you mother effers.
What did you do after you arrived at Mr. Cohn's residence?
I got to in his staff vehicle, which is an older nondescript car, and I went and picked up Cassie.
Where did you pick her up from?
Sunset Marquee.
And where did, at a hotel?
Yes,
And where did you go with Miss Ventura from the Sunset Marquee?
back to Cudi's house
Why did you return to Mr. Muscotty's residence?
because we needed to talk to him. We needed to make sure that he wasn't going to make a police report about Puff.
What, if anything, did you convey to Mr. Muscotty and Miss Ventura about what had happened earlier that day?
I had just kind of recounted the morning and let them know what had happened until I got with them, and they did the same. We all kind of told each other what had happened that morning while we were sitting there smoking weed, trying to get our spines together to go.
What did you tell them had happened to you that morning?
I told them they came to my house with a gun, told me that I had to go with him to kill Cuddy.
And who is the him in that sentence?
Puff,
What, if anything, did you inform Mr. Muscotty and Miss Ventura about what Mr. Combs had told you?
I let them know what he said, and I said, if you tell him, he's going to hurt us all.
What was Miss Ventura's reaction when you said that?
Do you really think he will?
What was Mr. Muscotty's reaction, if you recall?
I'm going to object to this
What grounds?
hearsay.
Sustain.
Your Honor, for a reaction, I'm looking not for a verbal reaction. I can phrase it that way.
And the question can be rephrased, and we'll see if there's an objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. What was Mr. Muscotty's appearance after you informed him of that?
Mind blown.
I'll object to the answer as being an appearance.
Objection is sustained. The jury should disregard the witness' last answer. Miss Steiner, let's move on.
What did you do next with Miss Ventura?
She and I went back to Puff House.
And approximately what time of day is it now?
Maybe 11 o'clock, maybe 11:30, somewhere around there. It started early.
Miss Foster, can you please put up what's in evidence as Government Exhibit 2B-101? What does this photograph depict?
This is Puff's second rental house in Los Angeles.
Is this the 9374 Beverly Crest address?
It is.
Is this where he was living in 2011?
It is.
Who was present in the house when you and Miss Ventura arrived?
Puff and Rue.
Can you just indicate for the jury where you entered the house?
This visual is of the back of the house. We enter on the front side of the top level of the house into the vestibule.
So did you enter through the vestibule at the top of the house?
Yes.
We can take that down. What happened after you and Miss Ventura entered the vestibule of the house?
Puff was standing there in a robe and his underwear, and he immediately began kicking Cassie.
Can you describe how Mr. Combs was kicking Miss Ventura?
100% full force in her legs to begin with. She was facing him to start, and he kicked her in like the thigh in her leg. He kept kicking her. He never used his hands.
And you said he kept kicking her. Was he kicking her more than once?
Yes, he repeatedly kicked her, and she just kept. Each kick, she would crouch into more and more of a fetal position.
And as Ms. Ventura was crouching more and more into a fetal position, can you describe where she was physically located?
Outside. By now, we were in a courtyard of the home, just outside of the vestibule. Every time she kicked, she moved back. Every time she got kicked, she moved back.
And approximately how far back did Miss Ventura get moved back from the kicks?
Couple steps each time,
And in total,
all the way to the street,
approximately how far is that?
maybe 20 feet.
And you said that Miss Ventura kept crouching further into the fetal position. Is that correct?
Yes,
And by the time she reached the street, can you describe what her body looked like?
she was all the way on the ground in full fetal position.
What was Mr. Combs doing to Miss Ventura in the street when she was on the ground and in full fetal?
She wasn't doing anything. She was crying silently,
What, if anything, was Mr. Combs doing to her?
kicking her,
Where was he kicking her when she was on the ground?
her back.
Anywhere else?
It was her backside. She was here. So whatever was revealed, what was ever off the ground side, he was kicking here, kicking
How
her.
how far were you from Miss Ventura while this was happening?
No more than 5 feet.
Was Reuben present?
He was
And how far was he from Miss Ventura?
no more than 5 feet.
What, if anything, did Mr. Combs tell you while he was kicking Miss Ventura?
He said if I jump in, he was going to F me up too.
Did you intervene?
I did not.
Why not?
I had never seen him do that, and I was in shock. And my heart, I was, my heart was breaking for seeing her get hit like that.
I'm going to object, Your Honor.
Objection is sustained. Jury should disregard the last sentence of the witness answer. Let's move on, Miss Steiner.
You testified, Miss Clark, that Reuben was also present and close to Miss Ventura when this was happening. Is that right?
Yeah,
What, if anything, did Reuben do to intervene?
absolutely nothing.
Who, if anyone, did you contact after you observed that Reuben was not intervening?
I called D-Rock.
What did you tell D Rock?
I said, tell your brother to stop him.
And when you say him, who are you referring to?
Puff,
What did you explain to D Rock was happening?
that he was kicking the S out of Cassie.
And when you say him, who are you referring to?
Puff,
Did you contact anyone else aside from D Rock?
I did.
She got disconnected.
Who, me? Hello?
Who? Who?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
I can hear you.
Who's
Okay.
disconnected?
All right. Um, who did you contact?
Paul offered.
Why did you contact Paul?
I didn't see Rube's phone ringing.
Was Mr. Oldford D Rock and Reuben's supervisor?
He was.
What did you inform Mr. Oldford?
Same thing. I said, Paul, he's kicking the S out of her. Help her.
How did Mr. Oldford respond?
I'll handle it.
And while you were there, did you ever observe Reuben intervening?
Never.
What, if anything, did Mr. Combs tell you after you made these calls?
He said, matter of fact, you get the F out of my house.
Did you leave his house?
On foot, I walked. Yes, I walked.
Why did you leave on foot?
They had taken me from my home. I had no vehicle.
After you left, do you know if the beating, or do you know if Mr. Combs continued to kick Miss Ventura?
Let's move on, or you can rephrase the question.
Yeah, I'll rephrase, Your Honor. After you left the property, were you still able to hear what was going on?
I could.
And what did you hear?
Wait, you got to lay some more foundation for this.
How far were you from the home?
I started getting feet away.
Feet away?
Feet away.
Okay. Were you still able to see Miss Ventura at that point?
Yes, I could see her until I hit the bend. It's a mountain ring, so once you get out of view, when you turn the corner, she's out of view.
And were you also able to hear her?
No,
You were not able to hear her. Were you able to see her?
no,
Let me clarify. I think I've asked some confusing questions now. When you were leaving the property, were you able to see Miss Ventura until you turned the bend on the street?
I was able to see her. She was still on the ground.
And wh-
Yes,
and while she was still on the ground, while you were walking away, what was happening?
he was still kicking her.
Who is he?
Puff was still kicking her.
Who, if anyone, did you call when you left the property?
Regina Ventura,
Who is Miss Ventura?
Cassie's mom.
And what, if anything, did you inform Miss Ventura?
I told her mom, I say, he's beating the S out of your daughter. I'm in over my head. Please help her. I can't call the police, but you can. Please help her. She said, I'll handle it, and we hung up.
After that, Miss Clark, did you call the police?
I did not.
Why didn't you call the police?
The mission of the day was to get Cudi not to involve the police, so that was certainly counterintuitive.
And later that day, did you see Miss Ventura again?
I did.
Where did you see her at that time?
I went to the Cipriani Hotel to check on her.
Is that the room where she had been staying with Mr. Combs the night before?
Yes.
That's near your own apartment at the time.
Yes.
Did you enter the room where she had been staying with Mr. Combs?
Yes.
And can you describe what the room looked like?
Things were thrown around everywhere. All her belongings were scattered. Her purses were toppled over. There was no broken furniture, but the room was in complete disarray.
Miss Foster, can you please bring up what's in evidence as Government Exhibit B-315? Miss Clark, is this an email that was sent to your work email?
Looks like it.
Mm. Is Capricorn1 at TMO at blackberry.net your work email at the time?
Yes.
It's sent from Veronica Bang. Who is that?
Cassie.
And it's sent on December 23rd, 2011. Was that the day after this incident?
Yes.
Can you please read the message?
Threats. The threats that have been made toward me by Sean Puffy Combs are that he is going to release two explicit sex tapes of me. One of Christmas Day, maybe before or right after, and another one sometime after that. He has also said that he will be having someone hurt me and Scott Muscuddy physically. He made a point that it wouldn't be by his hands. He actually said he'd be out of the country when it happens.
Miss Clark, do you recall if you responded to this email?
I don't.
You can take this down. Following the incident in December 2011 that you just described, did law enforcement ever contact you about Mr. Muscuddy? Hello?
Hello, did we lose her? Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I can hear you. They did.
Who contacted you?
The arson investigators.
And approximately when did they contact you?
Summer of 2012.
And what, if anything, did the arson investigators request of you at that time?
He wanted me to make a statement
A statement about what?
about what had happened. Cudi had provided my name to them.
And when you say what had happened, are you referring to what had happened in December 2011?
Yes,
Did you provide a statement to the arson investigator?
I did not.
Why not?
Just like the police, I hung up the phone.
Can you explain why you hung up the phone?
I wanted this whole thing to be over, and that was just going to make it worse.
Prior to receiving the phone call from the arson investigator, did you know any details about what had happened to Mr. Muscuddy involving arson?
No,
Did you ever discuss an arson related to Mr. Muscuddy with Mr. Combs?
never.
Following the incident in December of 2011, what, if any, questions did Mr. Combs ask you about Ms. Ventura's relationship with Mr. Muscuddy?
He just asked the same thing. When did I know about it? Why didn't I tell him?
And what was his demeanor when he was asking you this?
Very angry.
Did he tell you anything else?
He was very upset and he said I should kill you bitches and I should cut her face.
How frequently after this incident in December of 2011 was Mr. Combs making threats to you?
Often.
Approximately how many times?
I'd say once a week. We got to December 2011 and to that summer, I would say 50.
Who was present when Mr. Combs was asking these questions and making these threats?
D-Rock and Cassie
And what was D-Rock doing during these discussions?
questioning us.
And what, if anything, did he do when Mr. Combs made these threats?
He just doubled down or whatever Puff was saying in the moment.
What, if anything, did Mr. Combs instruct you with respect to Miss Ventura after December 2011?
That we weren't to really be friends anymore. I could just see her for work.
Did your relationship with Miss Ventura change after that time?
It did. It did.
Following what occurred in December of 2011, who, if anyone, at Bad Boy did you report the incident to?
Love Michelle, the head of HR, and Harvey Pierre.
Ms. Foster, can you please put up what's in evidence as Government Exhibit 2A-319? Do you recognize this image?
Yes.
And who is depicted in it?
Harvey Pierre.
Who is Harvey Pierre?
He was the president of Bad Boys Records.
Take that down. Miss Clark, approximately when did you speak to Mr. Pierre about what had happened in December of 2011?
In March in Miami.
March of
2012.
2012. And what specifically did you inform Mr. Pierre at that time?
I told him that Puff kidnapped me with the gun and came to take me to kill Kid Cudi, and he beat up Cassie all in one day.
How did Mr. Pierre respond when you told him that?
He was like, that's crazy. He was like, but it's going to be okay.
Did Mr. Pierre ever mention calling the police?
No.
Following this incident, what, if any, disciplinary action was taken against you at work?
I was put on a 30-day notice.
Approximately when, if you recall?
I don't.
Did there come did there come a time in August of 2012 that you were terminated from your position?
I was.
Was that a few months after your conversation with Mr. Pierre?
Yes.
And what, if any, misconduct were you accused of at that time?
I was accused of not properly putting in for the vacation time that I was on.
Had you sought authorization for your vacation?
I did.
From who?
Harvey Pierre.
During your years of employment for Mr. Combs, had you previously taken a vacation?
Never.
Why not?
Didn't have enough money or it really wasn't feasible. But as a global brand director, I had more bandwidth to be free.
Were you still in contact with employees from HR while you were on vacation?
Yes.
And what, if anything, did you, and who specifically?
Love Michelle.
And when, and what did you tell Mr. Michelle when you were on vacation?
They started sending me work to do when I was on vacation for Cassie. And I said to Love, I said, they're harassing me. And I explained he's mad at me because I didn't tell him his girlfriend was cheating on him.
What happened next?
I was called to the office and I was terminated.
Who called you to the office?
Love Michelle,
What if any benefits did you lose when you were terminated?
all of them.
What does that include?
Health, 401k, whatever benefits I had at the time.
Was your house paid for by the company?
Yes,
Did you lose that funding?
yes.
How about your car?
Lost the car.
Following your termination, did you have any additional discussions with Mr. Combs?
I did.
And what do you recall him saying in those discussions?
That I would never work again. That he would show me that all these people weren't my friends. That he would make me off myself.
Following your termination, did you seek other employment?
I did.
Did you receive offers?
I got a job. Yes,
Did that job fall through?
it did.
Were you ultimately able to obtain and keep employment?
No.
Following your termination, did you reach out to Mr. Combs' attorneys?
Yes,
And did you reach a settlement with Mr. Combs?
I did.
If you recall, approximately when was that?
That was in like October of 2012.
And was that based on allegations of wrongful termination?
It was based on, yes, wrongful termination.
Under the terms of the agreement, approximately how much were you paid for?
I'm going to object, Judge.
I think you can rephrase the question if you want to ask.
Okay.
I mean, was it a form of objection, or is there a different basis?
Can we approach for a second?
You may. Miss Steiner, I take it that you're almost done with the examination,
I am, yes.
and then we'll take a short break and come back. Mr.
So the object
Gagnifilio?
so the objection, I don't know what the amount of objection is relevant. And I mean, I would say it's unduly prejudicial. I mean, I don't intend to get into it. I don't know how it advances the relevant issues in this case, what the settlement was for.
Are you going to address the settlement?
No, not if they don't. I mean, that there was a settlement, but not, I'm not going to get into details.
Let's move on for the time being, and depending on what Mr. Agnifilo does, you may be able to address the issue in direct examination.
That's fine. I do want to flag for the court I intend to address a couple of the terms. Not financial terms, but the other terms of the agreement.
What are those terms?
The terms would include that they not disclose anything that had occurred, and Ms. Ventura was also
Again, I think I want to see what the cross examination is.
okay.
We can get into it on redirect.
Sure.
Miss Steiner,
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Clark, Miss Clark, aside from this settlement agreement, have you received any compensation from Mr. Combs in connection with your termination?
no,
Do you have any pending civil litigation against him?
I do not.
Did you briefly return to work for Mr. Combs after this?
I did.
When was that?
2016.
And why did you return to work for him at that time?
I wanted to try and get my life back.
Were you able to obtain other work?
No,
What was your role in 2016?
creative director for Cassandra Ventura.
What were your job responsibilities as Miss Ventura's creative director?
She had a new record deal with Epic. It was once again to try to figure out how to maximize her, figure out a new look, a new direction to accompany the music she was working on.
Who did you report to?
Sean Combs,
And who, if anyone, provided approval to Miss Ventura's projects?
Sean Combs,
And what projects that Miss Ventura's required approval by Mr. Combs?
all of them.
Can you describe what they might include?
Oh, mini movie, video shoot, photo shoot, red carpet look, schedule, what day were, soup to nuts. We needed to get approval for our movement as it related to Cassie.
Based on your observation of Miss Ventura during this period, what, if any, changes did you notice in her drug use?
She was much worse off.
Was there an increase in her drug use?
Absolutely.
Was she still dating Mr. Combs during this period?
She was.
And when did you leave this position?
2018.
And is that the last time you worked with Ms. Mentor?
Yes.
I want to direct your attention finally to December of 2023.
Yes.
Did there come a time when you retained an attorney in a connection with your prior employment for Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Why did you retain an attorney at that time?
I was upset about Cassie's civil complaint.
Did her complaint reference you?
Not at all. It traumatized me.
Because it did not reference you. Is that what you're referring to?
She did not mention me at all.
Did there come a time when you met with Mr. Combs' attorneys in April of 2024?
I did.
And during that meeting, did you inform well, what did you inform Mr. Combs' attorneys?
That I wanted my life back.
And did you discuss what had occurred during December of 2011?
I did.
What did you inform his attorneys?
I told him that he kidnapped me and I went through the events of that day.
Your Honor, I'm going to object as this is hearsay.
In terms of what this witness said,
Just, yeah, in terms of, right.
or are you anticipating the follow-up questions?
No. That the question and the answer.
I'm not going to elicit the response, Your Honor.
Overrule the objection. Ms.
Miss
Steiner,
Clark,
you can continue. Next question.
Miss Clark, were there any discussions about you working in some capacity again for Mr. Combs' companies?
There was,
And just generally, what was discussed?
like, what it would look like if I came in as chief of staff, got him up out of there, put him in a rehab so that somebody that was around in the inception of a lot of this business deals would be back in place.
Did you hear from Mr. Combs' attorneys again?
Nope.
When is the last time, Miss Clark, that you communicated with Miss Ventura?
In 2018.
And when's the last time you communicated with Mr. Muscuddy?
2012.
No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
All right, this is a good time for us to.
Can I start and then have a break? Unless we all want to stop now. Whatever you want to do.
Well, we're taking a break, which is what I was doing, and then we'll come back.
Okay, I will break too.
Thank you. Members of the jury, we will take a short break. It's 11:14. We'll be back at 11:40. All rise for the jury.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
I know that was a lot.
We ain't even got the defense.
Okay, defense is coming up now.
Yep.
All
Did
right.
y'all want to switch? Did y'all want to switch?
Yeah, we already talked about it.
Okay, so
Is
Maya's gone, right?
Yeah, JC is gonna be the witness.
Okay.
okay. So I'm still going to be Clark, right?
Yeah.
Tiara, you could take the judge, okay?
Okay.
Because I'm trying to stay up. It's hard.
Did you look at when you get a chance, look at the private chat? Mr. Miss Clark, we'll see you back here at 11:30. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, you got to go to Tiara? Tiara?
Yeah, in an hour to pick my husband up. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Please be seated. Mr. Agnofolio, just briefly, I know people want to take a break, but can you just give me more on the objection as to the discussion with the attorneys?
No, it's fine. I just thought it was essentially hearsay. What she had told us. But I mean, we talked about this beforehand. I knew she was going to.
If you're saying it's okay, then I will stop asking about this.
Hold on, wait. Hold on. It's fine. We had discussed that beforehand.
I'm hearing it's fine, so objection withdrawn?
Yes, I'll withdraw the objection.
Okay. Any further issues to address before we take our break?
Nothing, Judge. Thank you.
Very good. We'll be back at 11:30. Anything to address before Miss Clark comes back? Not from the government, Your Honor.
Not from us, Judge.
All right. So let's have her back and we'll bring in our jury. Please be seated. Welcome back. Miss Clark, you understand you're still under oath?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Agnifilio, when you're ready.
Good morning, Miss Clark.
Good morning,
Nice to see you again.
and nice to see you.
My name is Mark Agnifilio. I know you know that. I'm going to ask you some questions. If I ask you a question that you don't understand or a question that you would like for me to rephrase, all you need to do is say, "Can you rephrase that?" or "I don't understand that." And that's what I'm going to do, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is actually the second time we're meeting, right?
Yes,
Okay. And the first time we met, I don't know if you remember, it was April 10th, 2024.
yes,
And at that time, you had a lawyer in Los Angeles, Brian Friedman. Do you remember him?
I do.
Well known, highly regarded lawyer. From your perspective,
Yes,
and I met with you, Miss Garagos met with you, and a third lawyer named Jonathan Davis met with you, right?
yes,
And you and Mr. Freeman, and you had a friend there. Do you remember who that was?
yes. John McLaughlin.
John McLaughlin. So if I remember right, it was Mr. Freeman, yourself, Mr. McLaughlin on one side of the table. I think it was me, Miss Garagos, and Jonathan Davis on the other side of the table.
Correct.
And one of the things we talked about, a lot of things that day, right? You just,
Oh, yes, yes.
great. One of the things we talked about, and you just told the government this, you wanted to come back and work with Mr. Combs as his chief of staff.
We discussed it. Yes,
Okay. And you mentioned that. You brought that up.
yes.
Okay. And tell me if this is right. What you said was you've always been able to take care of him.
I don't recall saying that.
Okay. Do you remember saying he wouldn't be in this mess had he kept me around?
I probably said something like that. Yes,
And just so we're clear, do you remember, only if you remember, do you remember Miss Garagos was taking notes?
yes,
You saw her taking notes,
yes,
handwritten notes.
yes.
And you said, "Tell me if this is right." You said you didn't think that Miss Ventura was good for Mr. Combs.
Correct.
You said that at the meeting, right?
Correct.
And you believed that.
Correct.
Okay, do me a favor. Tell the jury in your words why you think that's true. Objection. I just felt they were. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, JC.
Overruled.
Okay, that's you.
I just felt that they were toxic as a couple. No, that's not.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, that is me.
Y'all
I'm
playing the
sorry.
wrong part. What's going on? JC is the
Yeah, I'm the witness. And I'm not sure who the court is
the
now.
court is Maya Maya. Did you guys give her a Patreon? Because Tiara has to leave.
That was at 11, so you want me to stop now?
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead on, and then she take over. Just let her know what page you're on. I'm sorry,
Okay.
guys.
2630. Okay, and tell me if this is right. When you first met and you called him Puff, right?
I did.
Okay, and you never called him Sean.
Never.
And you never called him Combs.
Never.
You called him Puff.
Puff.
Okay, so if it's okay with you, just since that you called him, can we call him Puff? Is that all right?
Yeah, I just kind of go with whatever it's being asked, but absolutely, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Let's call him Mr. Combs.
Okay, Judge, that ends that. We're going to call him Mr. Combs.
Mr. Combs.
So when did you first meet Mr. Combs?
In 2002, when I moved to New York.
Okay, and before you worked with him, before anything else, you and he were friends.
Correct.
You guys hung out a lot,
Yes.
and you had a mutual friend.
Yes.
And remind the jury of that person's name,
Jeanette Delone.
Jeanette DeLone. And to your knowledge, from what you could see, did Miss DeLone and Mr. Combs have any kind of romantic relationship from what you could tell?
I know I knew that they had in the past
Okay.
a relationship. They were older than me. They were used to years before used to years before had.
Right.
Yes.
But you guys will all hang out.
Platonic, yes.
Yeah, platonic. And just to be clear, you and Mr. Combs have always been platonic.
1000%.
Okay. And you started as friends.
Yes.
So tell the jury about your friendship. Tell us how it started. Bring us back to 2002 and tell us what it was like.
I had moved to New York. I was working in advertising. I was living in the Bronx. I hated the Bronx. My friend Jeanette, I met her through a mutual, my roommate had a girlfriend and they were friends and we kind of got closer than the girlfriend because they were vegans or whatever. So me and Jeanette, we formed a friendship and she went out a lot. She was like a popular New York City, Lower East Side girl, New Yorker. And she would hang out with different people, but she would often hang out with Mr. Combs and would invite me. And then we just sort of started hanging out, us three, as a little friendship group.
And you and Mr. Combs and Jeanette had fun?
We did.
Right. And you would hang out quite a bit
Yeah,
back in the day.
definitely.
Okay. Do you remember, could it have even been earlier than 2002 that you met Mr. Combs? And I know we're going back 2 decades. Could it have been 2000 or 2001?
Well, I moved to New York in September of 2000.
Right.
And then 2001 was the World Trade Center thing. I don't remember exactly when, but I know that it wasn't necessarily my first year. I met him a little bit after I moved there.
Got it. Got it. And when you first met Mr. Combs, he wasn't doing any drugs, right?
I mean, ecstasy.
Was he doing ecstasy when you met him?
Not when I met him.
No, I don't mean at that time. I mean in the time period.
Yeah, in that time period.
You saw him doing it?
Like socially. One night at Daddy's house, I think I saw him do it in the lounge.
Okay. But I'll ask you about Mr. Combs the same question that my colleague asked you about Miss Ventura. As time went on, you saw Mr. Combs was doing a lot more drugs.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you, with the exception of a few years, were you kind of were away from him? You were his friends from 2002 to 2004, right? You have to answer yes so she can.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Okay. And then you worked for him from 2004 until 2012, but with a little break in the middle.
Couple of breaks. Yes.
Okay. And then you come back in 2016 and 2017.
Yes.
Okay. So from what you can see from your vantage point, is it fair to say that you saw that he started doing a lot more drugs over time?
Yes.
Okay. Is it also fair to say that he started doing more drugs after he started being with Cassie?
Fair.
Okay. And Cassie was doing more drugs too as time went on.
Yes.
And from what you could see, they were doing drugs together.
Yes.
Okay. Now, getting back very briefly to our meeting in April 2024, you thought that if you could go back and be the chief of staff, you could be helpful to him and his business, right?
That was a discussion.
Okay. And when you say it was a discussion, do you remember you actually saying that to Tenny and myself in front of your lawyer, Mr. Freeman?
I remember discussing it with you guys. Yes. In front of Brian.
And Brian is Brian Freeman.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks. And did you authorize Mr. Freeman to have further discussions with Mr. Combs' lawyer about the possibility of you coming back as chief of staff?
I don't know if I authorized them, and I don't know what there was anything discussed outside of that room of my knowledge, but he was my lawyer. I don't know what he might have discussed with you all
Okay,
because it was very non-procedural. It was lawyer to lawyer versus a letter or something.
right. And do you recall at the meeting it was said to you that there was a criminal investigation going on of Mr. Combs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. By the time we had a meeting in April, there had been search warrants executed on two of his homes. You knew that, right?
Yes,
And do you remember being told that it would be impossible for you to be given a job in the middle of investigation? Do you remember something along those lines?
I do not.
And I don't want to get into anything that Mr. Freeman said to you, so I can't ask the next question, okay? So getting strictly to the meeting when we all were together. Do you remember being discussed? Do you remember that being discussed? And let me ask you specifically. Do you remember saying that would be very difficult to do to bring you on because of a pending investigation?
Objection. Overruled.
I do not remember.
Okay. I'm not going to try to Do you remember telling Mr. Combs that you had a crush on him, even going back to your when the time when you guys were friends?
No.
All right. I'm going to ask just to show the witness defense exhibit 946. This is just for the witness and the parties, and if we can blow it up. Can you read that? Is that big enough for you?
Miss Clark, can you read that?
Yes, I can see it.
Are you able to read it? Okay? Take a second, read it, and let us know when you're done.
Yeah. Read a top blurb and let me know when you're done. And Miss Clark, I'm also told if you have any trouble reading anything on the screen, there's a binder next to you.
No, I can see it.
Okay, okay. So when you finish reading it, just look up at me and that will let me know you're done. Okay, all right. So do you remember telling him that you had the biggest crush on him before you started working for him?
I don't remember this text.
Okay. Can we put it back up for a second? Is this a text between you and him?
It looks like it, but I don't remember this text.
Okay. Do you recognize the phone number attributed to you?
Yes.
All right. Do you recognize the phone number attributed to him?
No, but it could be his number. I don't know. I don't know this number.
All right. We ask that it be admitted.
Any objections? Your Honor, hearsay on 403, and I don't believe they've authenticated it. She couldn't identify the number. And what's the response on hearsay?
None of it is offered for the truth. It's the state of mind, and the witness recollection wasn't refreshed. So I've offered it, but nothing here is offered for the truth.
Your Honor, I think it's clearly being offered for the truth. There's no response other than the witness's text message. Mr. Agnifolio, there was an issue raised with respect to authentication, so why don't you try
We had a stipulation. Okay, hold on one second. We have a stipulation on authenticity.
Miss Steiner? Can we have a sidebar, Your Honor? Very brief.
I know you have a two lawyer rule at sidebar, and I know we have been breaking it, so I'm guilty.
Well, it's like who wants to be a millionaire? You get a few lifelines, but you're running out.
Great. Judge, I have to do something on this trial. I can't read.
Miss Steiner? Yes, Your Honor. The issue here, the reason the government is objecting is because this witness is not sure what these numbers are. So it's a relevance issue to this witness. She herself can be at, can't know who this conversation is between in any definitive way. Well, if there's not, you're not objecting on authentication grounds, right? Just one moment. I take defense counsel's representation that this is covered by one of the stipulations that this came from Mr. Combs' device or iCloud's account.
That's right.
If it's covered by that stipulation, we're not arguing it's not from his phone. The issue for 401 and 403 purposes, this witness doesn't recognize it to be a conversation she had. Well, she doesn't recall the conversation. But if there's no authentication objection, then it is what it appears to be. And the parties have stipulated that it is, in fact, authentic. communication from Mr. Combs' phone. So the question is it inadmissible hearsay? And Mr. Agnifolio says it goes to her state of mind. And I've reviewed the message, and it does appear to go purely to her state of mind. So that overcomes the hearsay objection. So at that point, there will be a 403 issue. So on 403 grounds, what's the argument? I think that there's the probative value of this is so low that the risk of confusing a jury with the document that she is not quite sure who the communication is between is high. It would be one thing if she could even know who the parties are in the conversation, but she's not sure. Understood. I think you can ask a couple questions to resolve that particular issue
Okay.
of who the people are on this communication.
Okay.
To address the, I suppose it's the 401, 402 issue, as to 403, why is this probative? What's its probative of?
It's probative. I think it undermines her entire direct testimony that she was subject of all these horrific threats.
So ask those questions and you can seek to offer it again.
Okay. So on top of on top you see a phone number where it says Cap New New. Do you see that?
I do.
That's your phone number.
That is my number.
Miss Clark, could you pull that microphone over? It might have gotten pushed to the side. Thank you.
I do. That is my number.
And then the green blurb. It says PD iPhone. Do you see that?
I see it, but I don't recognize that number.
Were you communicating with Mr. Combs by text around this time?
I was. I did text him in 2021.
Okay. And you don't recognize the numbers, but you see it says PD iPhone, right?
I see it says PD iPhone, but I don't know that number. I don't recognize the number.
The numbers?
Yes,
Your Honor, we offer it.
What's the number?
Oh, it's 946.
926.
No, 946, Judge.
All right. The fixed exhibit 946 will be omitted.
So now we can play it for the jury. Question. So the first blurb there it says totally unrelated to our current conversation, but it did. But did you ever know that I had the biggest crush on you before I started working with you? Do you see that there?
I see it.
There you go on to say we hung out all the time. I played it super cool. Jeanette might be the only one who knew. Do you see that?
Yes,
And who is Jeanette that is being discussed there?
it's reading as my friend Jeanette Delone.
And that's the Jeanette Delone that you were talking about to the jury a couple minutes ago, right?
Yes,
I don't think you knew. I couldn't tell if it was mutual. I just know for sure that you like to have me around. That's what you write, correct?
that's what it says I wrote. Yes,
Do you have any memory of this at all?
I really don't.
No.
No,
Did you reach out to Mr. Combs a lot in June 2021?
I don't know what month it was, but I knew I was reaching out to him to try to talk to him.
Okay. But you see, there's a reference to Jeanette Delone, right?
I do. Yes.
And there's the person you talked about that's your friend, that's your friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the friend that introduced you to Mr. Combs, right?
True.
So you go on to say, sometimes I wonder, did we misuse all that dope chemistry? Do you see that?
I see that.
It was super fun back then. The SJC days. What's SJC days?
Sean Jeanette Capricorn.
So is that a term that you use a lot? The SJC days?
Yeah,
Okay.
all of us did
All right. Sean Jeanette Capricorn. And what were the Sean Jeanette Capricorn days exactly?
before I worked for him.
So when you guys were just friends.
Yes.
We called you Choc, short for chocolate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Yes.
And who called him Chalk?
Jeanette.
Okay. I was just thinking about them nights before everything. So nice. Great memories. 20 years ago. Time is wow. Do you see that there?
I see it.
Okay. So we can take it down. So before you ever worked for him, am I right that you liked him? Forget about crushes for the time being. You liked him.
I liked him as a friend.
Okay. You liked him as a friend, right?
Yes, as a friend.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to keep doing that to you.
I'm sorry. Yes, I liked him as a friend.
You also respected him, didn't you?
Yeah.
He was, even in 2001, 2002, 2003, he was starting to be a pretty accomplished businessman. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And he was doing things in the worlds of music and fashion that you respected. Am I right?
True.
Now tell us your background up to that point. You said where did you work? You worked at Def Jam back in the day.
My first job was an internship at Def Jam.
Okay. And you said that's like the start of hip hop. That's like the birthplace of everything that became hip hop.
Yes.
Like back like Run DMC type thing, like all back that far or not that far.
Not that far. I'm not that old, sir.
Well, I am.
I'm more Foxy Brown, Redman, Method Man, Jay-Z days.
Got it. Got it. How did your friendship with Mr. Sean Combs proceed in 2002, 3, going in 2004?
Just super platonic. He had his girlfriends around. We'd all go hang out. Whoever, me and Jeanette would come. Jeanette would go sometimes by herself, and we would go to the clubs or go to dinners. Or he was getting an award. He would invite us when he was getting an award or something, very casual.
Okay. Fair to say, because you've been very close with him for many, many years. He had more free time back then. Does that sound about right or
I don't
no?
know about free time because he still seemed busy.
Okay. He was still working hard.
Yes,
Now, how did you come to start working for him in 2004 exactly?
I get the call from the headhunter.
Okay. And was this, and let me tell, and tell me if this is right. Was this the time when the headhunter is like, there's a job for an entertainment tycoon in music and you knew who it was?
Yes.
Tell the jury that story.
So I was working at advertising, and then September 11th happened, and then I went to a film company called Crosswords. Awesome people. They paid off my student loans. They were great. And I had put my resume on Monster, and it was like a new website at the time where you could upload your resume, similar to, I guess, whatever the one is now. And I was at the new job, and I got a random call from this company called the Jennifer Group. And they were like, "Hey, we found your resume on Monster, and you have the criteria. You had all the job experience that is needed for this fashion entertainment tycoon."
Okay. And when they said those words to you, fashion, entertainment tycoon, what went off in your head?
I asked them, I said, "Do you mean Sean Combs?"
Okay.
And they were like, "How did you guess that?" And I was like, "Well, you described somebody very specific."
And because at that point in time, when they used those words, Sean Combs is who you thought of.
That is who I thought of. And I was right. The way they described him. Yeah,
Right. And then you call Mr. Combs directly. Am I right?
I did.
And what did you say to him?
I said, "Hey, I just got a call from the headhunter. They want me to work for you." And I was like, "Are you hiring for an assistant?" And he was like, "Yeah, would you like to work for me?" And I was like, "I don't know. What's the job like? What is it?" And then we talked about it, the job.
He hired you?
Huh?
And he hired you?
Well, I met with some people that they liked. I met with some people and they liked me. And I guess he called around a couple of people and he hired me.
So tell us a little bit about the process. You said you met with a few people. Tell us what you remember. And this is back in 2004, right?
Yes.
Tell us what you remember about the hiring process.
I remember meeting a couple people. I don't know who all they were, but I know for sure Fashta was one of them.
Foster last name?
Foster Dunlap.
Okay. Met with a couple people.
Yeah,
I
met with a
guess he
couple people.
Oh
I
Lord.
guess he asked them what they thought of me, and then me and him had a conversation.
And what was Foster Dunlap's position, if you recall?
I guess it was like vice president of human resources.
All right. So then you started working with him in 2004, am I right?
Yes,
And do you recall if that was the year that he started to play Raisin in the Sun?
it is exactly. He was on Broadway when I started.
Okay. And tell me if this is right. Let me back up. Were you impressed that he was acting in a Broadway play?
I guess I would say I was impressed, but I thought it was pretty cool
Okay. Why was it cool?
because he's thriving. He's accomplishing dreams. He's music producing. He's got a business. He wanted to act. He's on Broadway. Broadway was very strenuous. I was, show every day, two shows on Saturday.
And he had a prominent role, right?
He was the star.
He was a star of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He was also involved in something called the Vote or Die campaign.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
One day we were leaving the show on a Saturday and in between shows, and he was like, I have an idea. What do you think of like citizen change or something? And I was like, oh, he was like voter, and he went through a couple of revolutions. And he said vote or die. I was like, oh. And he came up with vote or die in the car in between shows one day.
Is it something that you kind of workshop the name or the concept together?
I wouldn't say that. It was just a sounding board for what he was coming up with.
Okay. And 2004 was the year of the presidential election. Do you remember?
Objection. Overruled. Let's keep moving.
Okay. So I want to talk about the Vote or Die campaign. You said you were a sounding board.
Yes,
And this came to pass, right? This thing actually happened.
it did.
What was it?
It was a initiative, voter drive.
And what, if any, role did you have in it?
Just shadowing him as it related to the movements for the initiative.
Okay. Did you offer your opinion of ways of the Making Vote or Die campaign better or more effective?
I don't remember. I know that my primary job then was to get the celebrities and those t-shirts and do the photo shoot.
So it was somewhat celebrity focused. Am I right?
Yes,
That was your part of it.
yes.
What did you do in terms of getting celebrities for a campaign?
I would call them and explain that Puff wanted them to come do a photo shoot to support this photo initiative he was working on.
Also, all sorts of folks came out.
Yeah.
And tell me if this is right. I don't want to put words in your mouth. These sorts of things made you believe that the job you had was special.
I don't know what it made me think the job that I had was special. It made me think that I was with a person who knew how to execute their ideas. And I like people who know how to follow through.
So he knows how to follow through, right? But following it through alone doesn't get you to star on Broadway show, right?
No, no.
Okay. And so how long you been working for Sean Combs or Mr. Combs before this whole thing of jewelry going missing takes place?
If I started in, I think it was April, May, June, July. It had to be between July. It will be like 4 months. It had to be after the 4th of July. That's where he wore it. When we had the Declaration of Independence at his house and the white party in the Hamptons.
Tell us about that. The Declaration of Independence at the house in Hamptons.
Yes,
What was that?
the white party. It was held at his house in the Hamptons that year. It was a little bit more elaborate due to the vote or die initiative.
Okay. So there was a sort of political kind of angle to it. To be fair, one more yes or no.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. And so when I might have just lost you, when did the jury going missing coincide time wise with the 4th of July party in the Hamptons?
It was shortly thereafter because it was still out on loan from Jacob the jeweler.
Okay, got it. I want to make sure I get this right. You said that the jury was with you, right?
Yes,
And then all of a sudden the jury wasn't with you anymore.
Right.
And you didn't know where it was.
I did not.
Okay. So if I understood your answers correctly, you made a phone call to the folks back at 1440, right?
Yes.
Which is the main office at the time.
Yes.
And I think what you said on direct is make sure you search everyone.
Yes.
Okay, those were your words.
Yes.
Make sure you search everyone.
Yes.
Okay, and why did you think everyone should be searched?
Because the bag was missing from the office.
Okay, and you were taking it seriously, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and to your knowledge, did many people, many staff members get lie detector tests? Oh my God, it's
To
funny.
my knowledge, only one other person.
Mike B.
Yes.
Who is Mike B?
Mike B was his stylist.
Did you make, did you and Mike B discuss this lie detector test business?
I only remember him being there like the first day we discussed it.
Mike B?
Yes, Michael B. The reason he was there is because me and him went down to the basement level. I mean, not the basement, the street level of 1440 before the day got too deep in it and we got a manicure
You and Mike B did?
at the nail shop. We didn't go together. We just happened to both go.
And when does this relate to the lie detector test?
The lie detector test was the next day.
The next day?
Yeah.
Okay. So at that time that you and Mike B go and do this, had either of you had a lie? Let me withdraw. You had not had your lie detector test.
By when?
When you went and got your nails done?
The jewelry was still in my purse at the nail shop.
Okay. All right. My question though is, did you and Mike B ever talk? You and Mike B with each other about these lie detector tests?
I think we talked on the first day. I don't remember how or where, but I think I do remember talking to him because I remember seeing him.
Do you remember Mike B telling you that it takes a half an hour?
I don't remember that.
So you're saying that you got lie detector tests 5 days in a row, all day.
Yes.
Okay, so 5 days a week, every day for 5 days, all day, you were talking to a lie detector test
Yes.
with this guy who was 5 times as wide as you are.
Yes.
I have that right?
Yes.
And you said that the building locked from the outside.
The person locked it with the key from the outside. Yes.
So the building had a lock where you could lock people into the building from the outside?
Yes.
Okay. You were on the 6th floor, right? You said?
Yes.
And you were locked in the building because this New York City building locked from the outside.
We were locked in. When we came in, someone locked it as we waited for the elevator.
Who was that?
Whoever was with Paul, whatever security guard was sitting out in the car.
All right. And so you said that Paul brought you to the 5 times as wide as you, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then Paul did not stay for the lie detector test portion of the day.
He did not.
Okay. And that is true for each of the 5 days.
Yes.
And you were all hooked up to this lie detector test equipment all day for 5 days.
Not all day. He would unhook me to review the test.
Okay. And this man, you had no idea who this man was, other than the description you gave us. You had no idea who this man was.
I do not.
Never saw him before the first day.
No, I did not.
Never saw him after the 5th day.
I did not.
You don't know what relation he has with Mr. Combs in any way, shape, or form, correct?
I do not.
You said you yourself didn't speak to Mr. Combs during these 5 days that you were getting these lie detector tests. Am I right?
That's true.
And after the 5 days, the man giving a lie detector test says that it's inconclusive.
Well, he did it after every test.
Okay, it's inconclusive.
Yes, sir.
How many hours a day would you say that you were hooked up to that lie detector machine?
Like until like a regular getting off time, 5, 6 o'clock.
Okay. What time did you get hooked up and what time did you get unhooked up?
Like 10.
You got hooked up
10 to like 5 or 6. Yeah.
and you were hooked up the whole time.
I wasn't hooked up the whole time. I would take the test. He would unhook me. He would review it. We would do it again.
Okay. So how many individual lie detector tests did you get?
I didn't count, but I know I kept doing it every day.
All right. And who did you complain to anybody about the lie detector test?
Paul, but no one else.
When you got hired, did you speak to someone from human resources?
Yes,
Who was that?
Vashta.
Did you call Vashta and say, I've been locked in New York City building that locks from the outside for 5 days? I don't, I get this some kind of violation. Did you do that?
I did not.
Okay. You spoke with Vashta from time to time, right?
I did.
Vashta was approachable, right?
Futile conversations, but yeah, she was approachable.
Okay. You know where her office was, right?
I did.
You knew that she had a working telephone, right?
I did.
Okay. And you never called Vashta to say, you should know an employee of this company is being kidnapped, locked in a building of New York City that locks from the outside on the sixth floor, being given a lie detector test after lie detector test every day for 5 days straight. You never had that conversation.
I did not.
Then how long did you continue to work for the company after the 5 days of the lie detector test?
I worked for him maybe another couple months, not very long.
The lie detector tests were 2004, right?
Yeah,
Okay. You didn't you worked all of 2005 and all of 2006 with the company.
I did, but I got fired in 2004.
You got fired in 2004?
Uh-huh.
When was that?
Between the lie detector tests and his birthday.
All right. So you got fired in 2004.
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. What were you fired for?
Over his girlfriend at the time, Erica Hugh.
So you got fired over another girlfriend.
Yes.
And then how long were you not working for the company?
Like 3 or 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us how that worked. So you get fired
Mm-hmm.
for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. And then after 3 or 4 weeks, how did you get unfired?
I was happy to be fired. I was getting rest. I rested for 3 weeks. I got a call from Norma Augenblick. It was time to do the 35th birthday party at Caprana. Norma's stipulation was if he was going to work on the party was I'm not going to this party unless Capricorn is doing the celebrity guest list. She and he called and said, look, will you come back to do the celebrity list for Puff's party at Caprana? We will pay you. Okay, I'll come back to do the celebrity list. And that's how I came back.
All right. So after the 3 or 4 weeks hiatus, you come back
Mm-hmm.
and then you continue to work for the rest of 2004,
Mm-hmm.
all of 2005,
Mm-hmm.
and all of 2006.
Not all of 2006.
Well, we'll get there in a second. Were you his personal assistant during this period of time?
For a couple of months, and then my title was changed.
You became a personal liaison.
Yes.
All right. What are the differences in the job descriptions?
Nothing.
Okay. And then you stayed until 2006 and you left in 2006.
Yes.
All right. And you left more money. Isn't that right?
I
You,
left because
I'm sorry.
I left because he pushed me out of his house.
Do you remember telling the government that you left to make more money?
In 2006, I left because he pushed me out of his house.
All right. When you left, where did you go?
Jive Samba.
And did you have the job already lined up when you left?
No, I got it after.
And were you making more money?
Yes.
Okay. How much more money were you making?
I believe I was making 90,000 at Jive.
And when you left Combs Company, how much were you making?
For Combs, I was making 65,000. When I went to Jive, I was making 90,000.
Okay. So in 2006, you were making 65,000 at Combs, right? You leave and then you go to Jive and you're making 90,000.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you stayed at Jive for how long?
About a year.
Okay. And why did you leave Jive and come back to Combs, which is what you did, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what happened at Jive? Why did you leave Jive?
I had gotten to number one albums, one for R. Kelly and one for Sierra, and I had beat him on the Hot 100 charts, and he was impressed, if I could use that word. And he said, "You did really good. I'm starting a clothing line. I would love for you to come and work for me. You don't have to work with me. You can just work at one of my companies."
All right. And so then in 2007, you came back.
I did.
All right. And when you say you didn't have to work for him, you were working for his clothing line, correct?
Yes, sir.
What kind of contract did you have with him in 2007, 2008?
While I was at Sound John,
Yes.
same level of contact.
Quite a bit, right?
Yes,
He relied on you a lot,
he did.
right?
Yes.
What you're telling me, and I'll use your word, he was impressed with your abilities, right?
You asked about the job. He was impressed with what I had done at Jive Samba.
Okay. Aside from that, didn't he tell you very often that he was very impressed with your ability to see things and be a brand, have good concept and brand marketing and things like that?
I think generally my resume reflects how awesome he thought I was. I worked for him in a very many roles over a long period of time. I think I was a really good employee for him.
And he would tell you that.
He would
He would tell you how awesome you were, right?
sometimes.
Maybe he wouldn't use the word awesome,
He would not use the word awesome.
but suffice to say, he would let you know that he thought you were talented and hardworking and dedicated and effective.
True.
Okay. And so you always knew that that's what he thought, right?
That's what
And you worked hard for him.
I did.
And from what you could see, a lot of the people in this orbit worked hard for him, right? You saw that. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
I don't think they worked as hard as me, but yes, people were working hard.
Okay, let's talk about you for a second. You worked hard for him because you believe in what you were doing, right?
I believed, coming from my background without finishing college, that it was another form of business school if I could make it through.
Okay. Can you explain what that means? Tell us what you mean as a form of business school.
Separate from all of this stuff, I did learn a lot of stuff from Puff. I mean, Mr. Combs, he has ideas. He knows how to execute. He's tenacious. He wanted to break the glass ceiling as it related to what we were allowed to do as Black people in the business world. And it helped when you're working so hard to be working with somebody who would match wits with you or with fever to be successful.
All right. Let me unpack a little bit of what you said. Do you need a minute?
No, I'm fine, sir. Sorry. I mean, this is very complicated.
I got it.
Mr. Agnifolio, we're going to take a break in a few minutes. So when you get to a good landing place,
We can do it now, Judge.
all right, we're going to take our lunch break. We'll be back at 1 p.m. Thank you, members of the jury. Once again, don't talk about the case with each other. Don't look up anything about the case, and we'll see you back here at 1 o'clock. All rise. All right, Miss Clark. We'll be back at 1 p.m. You are not to have any conversations or discussions of any kind with the government. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll see you back here at 1 p.m. 1 o'clock.
Thank you.
Are we going?
Miss Miss Sylvia,
I think we can skip this part and go
you
straight to back to defense.
Yeah, that's smart.
where
Mm,
are we gonna go to? What
Straight
page?
back to cross.
Yeah, after lunch. Let me see.
That's page. Oh Lord.
They talked the whole lunch break.
Yeah, they did. Jesus.
Uh,
All right, that's page 2683.
2683.
okay.
You got it?
Um, yep, I got it.
You got it, Mimi?
Yeah.
Miss Clark, do you understand you're still under oath?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Agnifilio, you may proceed.
Good afternoon, Miss Clark.
Good afternoon, sir.
So I want to get back very briefly to when you left Combs' employment in 2006 and went to, was it Samba Records?
Jive Samba, yes.
And do you remember that Mr. Combs was supportive of you leaving and going there?
I don't really remember, but I don't remember that it was a problem based on what had happened.
Do you remember that he had good connections with the leadership of Samba?
He did, but I did too.
Okay. And do you know if he made phone calls that made it easier for you to get the job?
I do not.
Okay. But you discussed it with him, did you not?
I don't remember. That's a lot of background noise.
I think it's somebody's phone.
That's my mind.
Can we put it on mute?
Mama, can you mute your phone?
It's not me.
Okay. Okay. Where's we at now? Where we at, y'all?
Uh, I think it's but you discussed it with him, did you not? And I said I don't remember.
Okay. I did that. Okay. Line two. Okay, I'm going to ask you, looking at something to refresh your recollection, which is this is just for the witness and the parties. 3509-011 at page 3. We'll pull it up. It is sort of the top. Do me a favor. If we can just do the top like quarter, even higher. There we go. Now blow that up. I'm just give that part. Okay, all right. So you remember that he had a strong relationship there, right? Line 15.
Yes.
I skip all that part. Okay. And do you remember he told you that?
I don't remember.
Okay. You remember he was supportive of the move, correct?
I don't remember him being unsupportive of the move.
Okay. But it was a big deal, I mean, to you, that you were leaving and going there, right?
No,
Correct.
not after what happened. It wasn't necessarily good at that moment, but we both knew Mark's Pitts. Obviously, he knew Mark's Pitts better.
Say that name again.
Mark Pitts.
Who is Mark Pitts?
He was the president of Jive at the time. I didn't work for Mark, but he was working there.
And do you remember that you went there because you were making more money there?
I was making, that's not why I went there.
Okay. Can we go back and take a look at what we just looked at?
Mm-hmm.
If we can look at the top of the line, read it to yourself.
I read it,
Excuse
sir.
me. Miss Sylvia just wanted me to check. Somebody got to go pick up their husband, or you guys good?
No, I got 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I
Read it
read
to
it, sir.
yourself.
I read it, sir. That's not why.
Miss Clark, just read it to yourself and we'll take it down. And Mr. Acafilio will ask you to follow up.
Okay.
All right. Do you remember telling anybody that you had an opportunity to go there and make more money?
No,
You don't remember saying that to anyone?
I do not.
No?
No,
All right. But you did make more money, quite a bit more money.
I did.
Okay. All right. I want to also talk about you. You talked about this walk in Central Park.
Yes, sir.
You guys were going to Tavern on Green, right?
No, we parked at Tavern on the Green. We had been in the park earlier that day.
Did you go to the Tavern on Green that night?
No,
So that's just, you just parked there.
we just parked. There's a roundabout there
Okay.
on the east side of the park, the west side of the park.
And then you and Mr. Combs and who walked?
Paul Orford.
How long were you walking through the park?
We walked not long, just a little bit away of tavern on the green under a tree.
Have you known Mr. Combs to walk in Central Park as a matter of course from time to time?
We were in the park earlier that day on a walk, yes.
But I'm talking not that day. Just that Central Park is a place that Mr. Combs went from time to time.
I mean, yeah.
Your office was pretty close to Central Park, right?
No.
Where was it?
1440 Broadway.
And what was a cross street?
From 1440 Broadway?
Yes. Broadway and what? Do you know?
40th?
Okay. It's less than 20 blocks away. Is it? It
It
is.
is, but it's not close.
Okay. All right. Did you ever walk in Central Park other than the one time with Mr. Combs?
Earlier that day,
Okay. Where were you earlier that day?
we he had been giving me the run of the show, what the job would be like. And we walked from the east side of the park to the west side of the park, and we ran into Nas and Khalees in the middle of the park.
Okay. And who are they?
Nas is a rapper and Khalees is a singer.
So what happened? Just you and Mr. Combs were walking in the park,
Yes,
and that was during the day.
that was at the date in daytime. Yes,
Okay. All right. How long were you in and he in the park at that time?
just a walk, like 20 minutes, walking across.
You said that this was earlier in your career there. So he was kind of giving you the lay of the land.
We were talking. Yeah, he was giving me the lay of the land, and then we ran into them in the middle of the park.
Okay. And I want to talk. You told the jury about this incident where he had Cassie come in the room and spin around and all that stuff. Okay. Who was there?
Lauren London and Jeff Jordan.
But not Lauren Ann Gibson.
I don't recall Lorianne Gibson being there.
Do you remember ever saying that Lori Ann Gibson was there?
I never said Lorianne Gibson was there.
Can we look at 3509-055, page 3, just for the witness and the parties? Blow it up, the top, maybe third. All right. I'm going to focus your attention to the bottom paragraph there and just read it to yourself.
Someone misunderstood then. Oh no.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
All righty.
Okay, just read it to yourself, and when you're done reading, just look up at me. Who is Lori Ann Gibson?
Lorianne Gibson is the choreographer.
You know her, right?
I do.
You know her more many years.
Yeah.
She goes back to the old, withdrawn and old, to the days of hip hop from like back in the 90s, like you do.
No, I don't go back to the 90s like she does. She's older than I am.
So she goes back even further than you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you remember telling the government that this thing with Cassie spinning around with Laura Ann and Chef Jordan in 2010?
No, it was like I was misunderstood. They heard Lorianne instead of Lauren.
Okay. So you didn't take these notes, correct?
No, I didn't take these notes.
How many times would you say you met with the government before you testified today?
I don't know. A couple of times. I don't know the exact count.
Couple meaning like more than like a dozen?
Maybe a dozen. It's a good number.
All right. And so you understand when you sit down with them, they have an agent taking notes or one of the prosecutors taking notes, right? You have to answer yes or no.
I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Sorry.
What you're saying, so you didn't say Lori Ann Gibson.
Absolutely not.
All right. Okay. I want to talk about Cassie Ventura for a little bit.
Okay.
When did you first meet Cassie Ventura?
I met Cassie briefly when she was signed. When Niles brought her to be signed, I met her and Ryan Leslie.
And just tell the jury has heard a little bit. Tell the jury who Ryan Leslie is.
Ryan Leslie was a producer. He came in with her as her sort of like the producer that she was working with. And they were being managed by Glenn Niles, who was head of publishing at Bat Boy. And she was married to Cassie's lawyer and Ryan Leslie's lawyer. So it kind of came like that. And I met them through Glenn.
Okay. And to your knowledge, when you met Miss Ventura, was she in a relationship with Ryan Leslie?
Yes, she was.
Okay. And how do you know that?
Just off of how they presented themselves. This is Cassie, this is Ryan. They are boyfriend, girlfriend. But it wasn't a big thing. No.
Got it. They seem together that way.
But they weren't around us a lot.
Okay. And Ryan Leslie is how much older than Cassie, if you know?
I don't know Ryan personally, so I don't know. But I know he's older than she.
Okay. And you didn't always get along with Cassie, am I right?
No.
All right. And why did you not get along with Cassie sometimes?
Mm, what time period would you be referring to?
Let's go in the beginning. Let's say the early years of 2007 to 2010.
I don't think we really had issues in 2007 to 2010. 2007, she was a model for Sean John. We hadn't really developed the other side. She was just in the Sean John campaigns.
So when did you? You said you hadn't had issues yet. When did you and she develop issues?
I would say our issues developed after she started dating him.
Okay. So that's about 2007, 2008.
I would say she got a little bit more. 2008, I would say, perhaps.
And so, just so the record reflects, you said she got a little bit more and then you moved your shoulders.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
It's all right. What are you conveying? What are you telling the jury?
She got a little bit more bravado as being his girlfriend, the longer it lasted.
And what did you see in that regard? When you say she got more bravado, how did that manifest itself to what you could see?
Sometimes she thought I was being paid to help her.
Objection. Objection is sustained.
The jury should disregard the witness answer. Mr. Ignifilo, you can re-ask the question in a way.
Sure, sure, sure. Without getting into what she might have been thinking,
Apologies.
no, no, no. That's all right. I'm asking really what you were able to see. So were you able to see and hear, sense from being around her?
Just that her expectations levels were increasing.
How did that manifest itself? What could you see? What could you hear?
She went from being a sweet model to a feisty girlfriend.
Okay, and did you think she was very talented?
I think she had talent, and I think she was very beautiful. She was a very beautiful girl.
So in your is having talent different than being very talented?
Yes,
Okay, so I asked you if she was very talented and she was not very talented as far as you're concerned, correct?
true.
You said she had talent.
Yes,
And tell the jury you've been in this field your whole career, correct?
yes, sir.
And do you feel like you're a pretty good judge of talent from what you can see?
I mean, it's subjective, but I think I have a good taste.
Okay, all right. And why did you think she just had talent as opposed to being very talented?
Talented to me is Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey. Very talented is that level of performer, entertainer. Cassie was more of a studio artist.
Okay, what does that mean? Tell us what a studio artist is.
I'm a little bit more comfortable in the vocal booth to have a little bit of things equalized for you and engineered properly. Less of a live performer.
Okay, so you said equalized vocal. Her voice will have to be manipulated by other means to live up to withdrawn. I obviously don't know this terrain very
Why
well.
not that?
Huh? So Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston get up in front of the microphone, belt it out, and the world says, "Wow, that was amazing," right?
True.
That's not Cassie.
No.
Okay. What did Cassie need to put a record out?
She needed number one, great records. She needed a well oiled plan. She needed to go out there and work it.
Could she perform? Did she perform live while you were there with her?
A couple of times.
Okay. How did it go?
It wasn't the greatest.
Why is that?
She was a little bit nervous. She didn't really have a lot of opportunities. She wasn't getting booked a lot for live performances, so there wasn't necessarily a chance for her to gain that experience. When she did have it, she would rehearse and do her very best, but she still had nerves.
And on occasion, was it worse than having nerves? Were there occasions where, either from what you could see because of a drug use or something else, she was unable to perform?
I mean, later when I came back for the consultancy that I did in 2016, I could see that her drug use was preventing her from the opportunities that were before us.
Okay. From what you could see, was she a very hard worker?
At times,
Okay. And at times not?
at times not.
Okay. Now let's talk about the time she was a hard worker. In what areas was she a hard worker?
If I were in the studio, she would show up on time. She would do the vocals. She would do them over again. If we were listening to tracks, if we were trying to meet with producers, she would show up. If I'm sitting there trying to come up with creative directions, she's looking, she's enthusiastic, she's giving input. Working out, dance rehearsals, choreography, just trying to do the things an artist does to create betterment for the execution of the show.
And in what ways was she not a hard worker?
Oh, well, I would say most of the time she preferred to be with her boyfriend.
Your Honor, can we get a time period?
Fair enough. Let me break it down. We'll call the early years 2007 to 2010. Would you say she was not a hard worker or a hard worker in 2007 to 2010?
2007, I would say she was a hard worker then.
Okay. Did there come a time when, from your perception, she stopped being as a hard worker?
I would say that I saw her downgrade in her level of execution when we made the move to LA.
Okay. And do you know when that was approximately?
After Kim had the twins in 2009ish.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure. I would say 2009.
After that, you saw she wasn't working as hard.
Not as hard.
What did you see along those lines?
I saw her not working. I saw her developing more of her relationship with Puff, Mr. Combs.
Okay. And did you think she deserved did she get attention? Did she get support from what you could see from Combs and the business?
Yes.
Okay. And
Again, can we get a time period, Mr. Agnifulio?
is there did it change as time went on?
The support,
Yes. Or was it about the same throughout from what you could see?
I would say, was about the same. He was always supportive, but there would be times when the support would fall away.
Okay. So you said there were times it would fall away. He will always be supportive. In what form did this support come from? What you could see.
Budgets, producers, artists, choreographers, stylists, hairstylists, just general top tier of the industry that creates stars. He made sure to give her access.
Okay. So in all of those areas, she got top tier talent to support her to become a star. Fair to say?
Fair.
Did you think she always deserved all of this attention and supporters?
Objection.
Let me ask a different question.
Go ahead.
Let me ask a different question. Did you did you think all of this attention and support? I'm going to ask you a different question. Were there other artists in Bad Boy who were getting less attention and support than she was?
Yes.
Okay. So describe that for us in terms of the amount of attention and support that she got as opposed to other artists in Bad Boy at that time.
May I ask for a time period?
Sure. Let's talk first 2007 to 2010, and then we'll go from there.
2007 to 2010. She got considerable amount of support. That was the early days. In relation to the other artists, we really didn't have. I think maybe Young Jock was there. We had maybe, I forgot. We had another group from Atlanta, I think around that time. They got a video, and who else was there? I would say, as I could see it from my point of view, the lion's share of Bad Boys was on Cassie in that first block of time.
Okay, now let's talk about 2010 to 2012 because you leave in August of 2012. So let's talk about that period of time. Same or different?
Different.
Okay, in what way?
We had new artists at the time. My portfolio in terms of who I was working with as in relation to Bad Boy opened up. That's when French, like I developed French Montana, had Red Cafe and MGK, and MGK was getting a lot of attention, as was French Montana. So I kind of I was from where I was kind of seeing support now for the other artists as well.
Okay, about the same level of support and attention as Cassie was getting, roughly?
Yes.
Okay, and you came back in what year after you left in 2012?
2016.
Okay, 2016, 2017, same question. What kind of attention and support was Cassie getting during those years?
I would say the same support. However, he had fell back in terms of being on our sets, being there when we were working. He took a step back.
You mean Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Got it.
So I say we kind of put it more in her hands in that 2016 window to actually show up and do it. Like he wasn't going to ride her now. He wasn't over her shoulder on set. He wasn't doing whatever he was. He was doing whatever he was. And he was just supporting from the phone.
Okay, but in 2016, 2017, it was your job to work closely with Cassie, right?
Yes.
And tell the jury exactly what you did for Cassie in 2016 and 17.
So she had a deal. She got a new record deal on Epic. And she and I had spoken since 2012. We ran into each other somewhere and she was like, hey, I got a new record deal. Maybe I'll talk to Puff. Maybe we can get together and work on some stuff. And, I haven't been doing anything since. I had a baby and I love being creative. I love my work. And so it was the first thing was the MTV Awards that year to come up with the look for her. And we turned her hair highlighter green and dressed her like David Boyd. And it was amazing. And then we did a photo shoot at my house on Puff's birthday to support the project. We wrote a movie. We shot a mini movie. We shot videos. And that was pretty much the time. Every time I saw her, it was for work.
Okay, I'm going to be honest, y'all. We got a lot to go. And it's 11:40.
I know.
And I got work tomorrow, so.
We can. Is Miss Sylvie, she sleep?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, I guess it's a good time to stop.
Is it over with?
No, we're just on. No, we're still in the middle of cross. So thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. We hope you guys got a good amount of the transcript so you can kind of have a little better understanding of what happened today. But we appreciate you guys jumping on. And thank you, Mimi. Thank you, Tiara.
Thank y'all as well.
You guys have a good night.
You too.
All right. Bye, guys.
Night. Bye. Hey, Ruby, tomorrow I'm going to do it tomorrow for the jury. All right, guys. Good night.
Good night, Miss Sylvia.
Good night.
Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this online space. It's just you and me, we laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain.